Dear all, a very warm welcome to the Schneider Electric Presents Innovation Talk webinar, Future of Homes, organized by Realty Plus Masterclass. I'm Sapna Srivastava, editor Realty Plus, and let's begin the proceedings of the day with a brief introduction of what Realty Plus is all about. So here we have a brief introduction slides that I would like to share with you all. So friends, Realty Plus magazine is part of Exchange for Media and BW Business World Group. It is the real estate vertical of the group and was created to cater to the needs of the real estate business. For the past 16 years, now it has been at the forefront of news and stories influencing the world of real estate. It was also adjudged the best real estate magazine by NAREDCO, National Real Estate Development Council, and is now available in both print and digital edition. Apart from our monthly magazine, the Realty Plus series of collector's edition coffee table books are premium editions launched once in a year, spotlighting prominent personalities, products, and brands of the real estate industry. Our recent one is the Super CXOs, India's top 100 realty influencers coffee table book, featuring Indian Realty's dynamic super CXOs who are transforming the sector through their leadership and vision. Moving on from the publications, Realty Plus Conclave and Excellence Awards virtual series features eminent speakers, engaging discussions, and lively virtual award ceremonies felicitating the top performers in Indian real estate, PropTech, co-working, and building product segments. Realty Plus also produces various online products and events under its Realty Plus Digital Connect initiative. Under the umbrella of Realty Plus Digital Connect, we have Realty Plus Masterclass webinars, such as the one today, featuring subject matter experts and industry leaders in an insightful and informative conversations on current and relevant topics. We also have the Realty Plus Real Talk series that features video interviews with influential leaders from varied segments of real estate to share their honest views and opinions and real facts and figures for the benefit of all the stakeholders of the industry. Not to be missed, friends, every morning is the Realty Plus e-newsletter that goes out with latest news, views, and opinions from across real estate sector of India and the world. We are also very strong on the social media platforms, and that is how we stay connected with our readers, peers, and partners and promote our products. So this was a brief snippet of what Realty Plus does and what our latest initiatives. To know us better, do get in touch with Ms. Tripti Kedia, publisher and business head Realty Plus. So friends, now let's come back to our today's very exciting lineup of keynote presentations and panel discussions by the industry experts. Let's start by knowing more about Schneider Electric through this very short film.
The world is full of people telling you who to believe they are. Well, we thought we'd tell you who we're not. Let's start here. We're not in shipping. We don't make lifts. Seriously, no lifts. We do this. We're good at this. And we make all of these. And even though you'll find us here and here, we don't make energy. We make you save it. And you'll be saving the environment too. Are we an internet company? Well, we connect and power just about everything around you, helping machines talk to each other and to you, making your world more personal. We're seeking out the big questions and answering them honestly. Like, how can we make the most of our energy and resources? Or can we make access to energy and digital basic human rights? We're real people, employees, developers, partners, investors, and inventors, all passionate about doing what's right. We're open. Humans of all sorts from all over, learning from each other and about each other. We're not here to save the world. It'll go on with or without us. We're here to be your digital partner for sustainability and efficiency, to ensure life is on everywhere, for everyone at every moment.
Well, that was very interesting.
The world is full of...
That was very interesting. Let me also inform you all that the event is being live streamed at Realty Plus website www.realtyplusmag.com and Realty Plus Facebook page RP Realty Plus. So now let me welcome Ms. Vidisha Nagraj, Vice President Global Marketing Greater India Schneider Electric for the keynote address. Let me give a brief introduction of Ms. Nagraj. She has over 25 years of cross-industry experience in marketing, a thought leader and a strategic marketing expert. She has spent a significant time of her career in technology, retail, and entrepreneurship. Vidisha started in the year 2016 as the CMO of Schneider Electric India and runs the marketing function for the company. Her assignment portfolio has a well-rounded mix of Fortune 500 companies as well as Indian early-stage startups. Vidisha's experience includes assignments in India as well as Asia Pacific region. Ms. Nagraj, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's my deep privilege to be here today. I'm very excited to be part of a dialogue about future of homes. And I'd like to share a few thoughts about that. You know, before I go on to future of homes, I do want to set the context about who Schneider Electric is. You just saw a video about who we are not and who we really are. And I just want to reiterate some of the important points that we spoke about in the video before we move on to what the future of homes will look like as predicted by a lot of us, including Schneider Electric. So what you saw in the video is that Schneider Electric is a global leader in energy management and automation using digital technologies. As you saw in the video through beautiful visuals, our purpose is to empower all to make the most of our energy and resources, bridging progress and sustainability for all. In fact, at Schneider Electric, we call this life is on. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we're all living through very special times today. In fact, addressing the challenges, the biggest challenge of humanity in trying to deal with this virus. The fact that we are having this event virtually itself is a big achievement, which we would none of us would have thought about it even 2 years back. At the same time, along with the virus, we're also dealing with the biggest challenge of our planet. Let's not forget that. And that is climate change. You know, we're already in the early April and we're already reading newspaper reports of being the hottest summer, et cetera, et cetera. That's all because of global warming. Now, I'm sure a lot of you all know that why does climate change happen and why is it happening? Climate change, in very simple words, is about carbon emission. And carbon emission is about energy, right? The way we produce energy, the way we consume energy, all that rolls back to carbon emission or the lack of it, or carbon footprint as it's used. At Schneider Electric, I do want to emphasize what the video said. We believe energy and digital are both basic human right, which means that every single person in this planet needs to have access to energy, electricity, power, whatever you want to call it, and digital. Why? Because energy is a passport to a decent life and living, and digital is a passport to inclusion. You know, in today's times, imagine if we didn't have access to digital, how would our kids study education? How would we access medical advice through telemedicine, right? So energy is a passport for decent living and digital is a passport to inclusion. Now, on the other hand, if you look at some of the big trends that's happening today, we're seeing urbanization, which means more and more people are moving from rural places to urban places, rural India to urban India, which means that urban India needs to be ready with more buildings, more hospitals, more hotels, more schools. Digitization. Today, we are all working from home. We need multiple charging points. We need power backup, right? So there is a pressure on energy because there are more gadgets that we're dealing with. Industrialization. which means more and more manufacturing belts are getting industrialized, right? Now, what does all this mean? It means that there is a huge pressure on our energy consumption compared to what it was earlier. And even so now in the last 1 year, owing to the fact that we're all working from home and our homes have taken a very different meaning. Now, because there is a pressure on energy, keep in mind that if it's not produced or consumed sustainably, then we have a problem. Then we have a problem in the planet, and that's what we call about carbon emission leading to energy consumption, which means that it all compounds to a climate change situation. Now, the good news is that while we are the first generation acknowledging this problem, the good news is that we are also the first generation that is finding technological solutions to this problem. Solutions to producing energy in more sustainable ways, which means looking at more renewables, more solar, more wind. Solutions to digital. Our first phase of digitization, which we all know, was connecting people to people. Today, which we are in the second phase, it means how do we connect things to things, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that if we don't address the ways which we consume energy in or even produce it, then there will be more carbon emission. And this is not great news for our planet. Now, you must be wondering, where does this all fit in when we talk about future of homes? What role do homes play in resolving this puzzle? And what roles do we all play in resolving this puzzle of energy management and the access to energy and digital? Now, Schneider Electric is a company which you've understood by now is with a purpose firmly rooted in sustainability. That's what's shaping our vision of the future of tomorrow, of the home of tomorrow. We see homes evolving from not just smart, but to smart and sustainable, where technologies are interconnected to not only provide greater comfort, but also reduce the environmental impact that I just spoke about. There are four main challenges as we see as homes evolve from where they are today. The first challenge is sustainability. The second challenge is resilience. The third challenge is efficiency. And the fourth one is personalization. Let me touch upon each one of them very quickly. Sustainability. First, we need to equip our homes to become more sustainable and therefore make sure we measure every single piece of energy that we are consuming at home, which means it's a reduction of the impact on the planet. Second, resilience. Resilience covers two aspects. One is safety from electrical faults, which we're all scared about all the time, and continuity of power supply, which is very, very important in today's times. The third challenge is efficiency. Like I was saying, electricity consumption is increasing as we spend more and more time at home, and it's only going to increase in the years to come as we add on more pressure on our consumption. Like, we may have some of us maybe looking at buying EVs. We need power, charging stations, etc. Now, thankfully, there are huge opportunities to use energy smarter and limit the increase in use and costs. And finally, about personalization. As we all know, our home has taken a very different meaning today. It's not just a place where we live in, but it's a place that we play, we work, we study. This means we need better, personalized, modular spaces that flexibly adjust to different activities at different times of the day. At Schneider, we fully recognize these four challenges and are actively working towards addressing them. We're going to talk a little bit about it. We have a new smart home platform and technology called Visor, which is linking digital and electricity to allow us homeowners to take better control of our homes and, of course, carbon footprint and, of course, our wallet. I just want to leave you with one scenario. Think of it, okay? Think of a situation that it's 6 a.m. in the morning and your alarm clock is buzzing and you're wondering why it's buzzing because you usually get up at 7 a.m. Well, it's not a malfunction. It's just that your smart clock has scanned your schedule of the day and adjusted because you've got that big presentation first thing in the morning. It's buzzed your alarm clock. Your shower automatically turns on and warms you to your preferred temperature of bathing. This is the future of homes. This and much more. So I just want to conclude by saying, and before we move on to a dialogue about future of homes, we know that people are motivated today to stay more healthier, to be more sustainable, but they don't necessarily know how to go about it in their homes. They read newspaper reports about climate change, sustainability, carbon footprint, but they don't know what their role should be. And this is where the design of home is very, very crucial. The home of the future is not just efficient, it's also resilient and flexible. It's a well-considered, comfortable home that caters for the household activities, needs, preferences as they change over time, as we've seen in the last 1 year, whilst reducing carbon footprint. The home of the future is its own power plant. This means that it's generating its own energy rather than just preventing energy loss. So with this webinar, we intend to hear from our industry veterans and experts on their opinion and perspectives of the homes of the future. I just gave you my perspective of the importance of home of the future, its relationship to having a more sustainable and a sustainable planet, a more livable planet, and a planet that we want to hand over to our next generation. So I'm very excited to be here, and Schneider Electric is all geared up to cater to this new paradigm shifts in homes. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and I look forward to the next few sessions. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Vidisha. Very rightly said. Energy and digital, two keywords: energy for quality of life and digital for inclusive development. And yes, rightly, we are probably the first and the last generation to do something about climate change. So on that note, thanks, Ms. Vidisha, and
thank you
very much for sharing your views and thoughts with us. Let me now invite Mr. Vikas Khanpur, Lead Connected Living Home and Distribution, Schneider Electric, to take us through a brief presentation on the future of homes and how do they look like. Let me give a brief introduction of Mr. Vikas Khanpur. Mr. Vikas Khanpur has around 18 years of experience with global exposure in both B2B and B2C domain, in electrical, automation, consumer goods, and in retail industries. Currently, he is spearheading the product marketing for the connected living devices business unit of Schneider Electric. Mr. Khanpur, over to you, and thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you so much, Sapna. And thanks a lot, Vidisha, for that wonderful explanation and the introduction. Allow me to share my screen.
Yes.
I hope my screen is visible to all.
Yes, we can see, Vikas.
Okay, so yes, thank you again, Sapna, and I would also like to welcome and thank each one of you on the call for taking out time for this wonderful session. Okay, so before we begin and talk about the subject, I would quickly like to just briefly talk about who we are. Vidisha explained it very well in her speech, but yes, what I would like to emphasize here, that out of total revenue which we generate, 5% of the revenue we give back to the business in order to produce and develop futuristic products which are the need of the hour, and also which we think that the trends are taking us to, and in the future that would be something which is important and critical. So talking about Schneider Electric journey in India, it started way back, more than 50 years back, with a joint venture with Tata Group. So over a period of time, we evolved. Okay, we strengthened our base in the country. Okay, and we also strengthened our connected living ranges and the home and distribution business. with a key milestones of acquisition in 2004 of Clipsal, the worldwide leader of wiring devices, which became part of Schneider Electric. And then later on in 2011, when we acquired Luminous, and we showed and strengthened our base of wiring devices in India. Today, we are glad to announce that L&T Electrical and Industrial Automation is now part of Schneider Electric. Now, moving ahead on the topic, we know that the concepts are changing these days. Buildings concept have changed not only in IHUs but also in the MDU spaces. The facades have become more interesting. I would say star architecture. Not only the facades but the interiors have also gone changed. They have become more stylish. The design has become a key focus of element inside our homes. Not only design interiors, but we have seen the enrichment which has happened in terms of the content and the medium in our homes. With all this, the gadgets which we use, the acceptability of gadgets, technology in our homes, that has also taken a huge increase. And especially in the past 14 months of pandemic, we have seen that this digital penetration is standing tall. There is an acceleration of digital penetration. We are working from home. More and more data is being used. More and more digital platforms is coming in our homes. So with this, the overall trends have changed. There are new trends which are making homes more electrical and more digital. This is one of my favorite slides to talk about. There are new electricity guzzlers in our home these days. 70% of the increase has happened in the electrical bills. You talk about electrical vehicles, we have seen a growth of 20% last year in 2020, where 1.5 lakh units of electrical vehicles got sold in India. There is a change. People are moving from the gas stoves towards microwaves and induction stoves. If you talk about power availability, there is a surge. 26% of the electricity consumption in the households has gone up in the lockdown period. And we are now adjusting to the new normals. Homes are becoming a very critical place these days. The schooling, the office, and even other critical functions that are happening from home. But it is also one of the key safety hazards. We have seen that a lot of electrical injuries which has happened. 48% of the electrical injuries have happened in home. That's why BIS, the government body, has come up with more stringent norms, and they have changed certain standards of BIS. People are wanting more safe, clean, and germ-free homes. We have seen with that there is a want and strong need of comfort and convenience also. More than 1 million smart speakers were shipped in India in 2020. Not only this, we have also seen that the homes are becoming a very strong point in order to contribute to the environment. Around 30% of the homeowners who are renovating their homes, they want building material to be more sustainable and more smart. Now with this, let's take us a deep dive into the smart homes. Digital disruption has already started to impact the industry. In fact, these days, it is one of the key differentiated factors for the home builders. If I go out in the market and I see the hoardings of the builders, we would see that a lot of the builders are emphasizing on the smart home concepts. They are pitching smartness in order to sell their properties because it actually enhances their brand equity. Now, let's talk about this magic of smart home, okay, which Vidisha explained in a little before. So what is this magic? Imagine with just click of a button, you are able to switch on your lights, switch on your television, switch on the coffee maker, air conditioner, and also listen to the beautiful song which you want to listen. With just a click of the button, if you're working from home, you would be able to see who is there at the door. Not only this, but the smart homes also enables you to open the door with the help of your mobile phone. You would be able to see that in which particular room your air conditioners are on, which of the appliances are contributing most to the energy consumption, which of the appliances needs the servicing part. All this can happen with our revolutionary product, Wiser Homes, which is not only intelligent, but it does not need any wiring. It's a zero wire product, and it is value for money. Talking about Wiser and the home automation, there has been misconception in the market that it is very complex, very expensive. No, it is not. It takes less than 4 hours to install it in your home. It is very simple, and in fact, a lot of the people, they have done it yourself. I have installed home automation all by myself at my home. Talking about how it happens, there is a very small module which goes behind your switch in the metal box. You connect it with the Wi-Fi router, just how you configure your mobile phone with a Wi-Fi router, same way you configure it, and you are good to go. You would be able to access your home automation through the smart speakers. It is so simple, and it also, you can connect a lot of appliances with that. Okay, your fans, curtains, you can dim your lights, access your appliances, and even it is used for security. Everything can happen with your mobile phone. And we also have certain smart packages. This entire system becomes scalable, and it can be customized as per the customer and the builder needs. So what more? You get everything in such a small price and within 4 hours. So Wiser Homes, definitely makes your home smart, but definitely you need certain manual overriding things also. You need smart switches. You need manual switches in order to operate. It is still a need in India. So Schneider Electric brings the plethora of the portfolio of the wiring devices, which caters to each and every aspiration level of the builder, of an architect, and even the end customer. Let me talk about one critical factor which is transforming the way we behave today, which is hygiene. Hygiene has become pivotal. And that's why Schneider Electric believes that it is our responsibility to contribute to the society. And we have come up with India's first antiviral switch, Clipsel X. We also have a range which is antibacterial, which is Livia, because we believe that safety is the pivotal of all the developments. It's the responsibility of Schneider to ensure that there is added protection for you, for your near ones, dear ones at home. Talking about the next critical factor, again, the safety. All our products, all our wiring devices are with the ISI marking. Not only this, our sockets are having the additional safety shutters. Schneider was the first one to introduce safety shutters in the market. Later on, other companies, they got inspired by it, but we have now gone a leap ahead in order to bring certain patented features in the sockets, which makes it more childproof. All our switches are arc shield, making it more perceived safety for the customers. Not only this, there are certain patented technologies which we have, like self-piercing terminal, which ensures that there is no bare wire in the installation. It not only is a biggest safety element for the end user, it is also one of the safety factor for the electrician who is installing the product. In terms of reliability, Schneider Electric has always been trusted upon as one of the reliable brands. And hence, all our switches and sockets comes with a lot of functions which ensures that your product is long lasting. In fact, our Clipsel X range and the Avtaron range, it is so long lasting that it can go for 1 million clicks. Imagine, if it has been installed almost all 300 years back, taking 20 days, 20 operations a day, okay, our switches can last for 1 million clicks. We have a lot of patented features which ensures that the switches, the reliability, the quality is enhanced, like the less deflection angle. The facile and guarded switches makes it the longevity of switch extra mile. In terms of the design, we have a design versatility, the isoline edge design products, which not only makes it efficient, but also long lasting, easy to maintain. Iconic demarcated dolly, which is one of the patented features for Schneider Electric in the Unica Pure range. World's first fully flat switch was introduced by Schneider Electric in Zencelo, the mirror smooth design switch in Avatar On, and the artistic design and the patented technology of Ulti. All our designs are awarded with one of the highest product design award called IF Design Award. Not only in design, we have the authentic ranges and the finishes. We have authentic glass, metal, wood. We also have a lot of textured finishes and the classic finishes, which ensures that your the finishes of the switches and sockets are actually going very well with the home decor. Every room today, we want the rooms to be accustomed to the requirements of the end customer. The kids room, for that we have colorful and vibrant ranges. If you want elegant range in the bedrooms, we have Unica Pure with the real material finishes. And if you want something very luxury, we have products for the living rooms and for the luxury and the celebrated villas also. All our products, okay, are developed with certain critical factors, but one of the critical factors for us is energy efficient. There are certain key functions which are there in our ranges, which ensures that the energy consumption bill is reduced for you. The products are sustainable. With using our products, it brings you close to the LEED certification points. All the products are certified and compliant with one of the highest international standard of green certification, which is Green Premium. Not only this, all our products, as I said, they are quite innovative. We keep on coming with certain innovative features which makes our product futuristic and efficient to use. So hence, we are talking about homes of the future, more electric, more digital. Schneider Electric provides complete solutions for the new and even existing homes. Your homes are connected, sustainable, safe, and with modern design. So this is from my side. Over to you, Sapna. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Vikas, for that very interesting and informative presentation that you gave. And as you rightly said, it's not only about convenience, comfort, and personalization, but also about safety and efficiency and sustainability. So thank you so much. Let's talk about more about this and go on to the first panel discussion of the day. So the topic of our first session is thoughtful living, buyer's preference for smart, connected, and efficient homes. Can we have our speaker's introduction slide? So thank you so much. Now let me introduce our panelists for this session. The session will be chaired by Mr. Deben Moza, Executive Director, Head of Project Management Services, Knight Frank India. Devin has over 2 decades of professional experience in architecture, construction, project management, and corporate relocations. He has successfully delivered projects across multiple sectors, from hospitality, residential, commercial, retail, and holds key proficiency and in project management, construction management, and architecture and workplace strategy. Mr. Devin Moza, a very warm welcome to you. Let me introduce our eminent speakers in an alphabetical order. I welcome Mr. Abhishek Kapoor, Chief Operating Officer, Residential Business for Purvankara Limited. Mr. Kapoor is responsible for driving the growth of residential business largely under the Purvankara and the Provident brands. An accomplished real estate professional with over 22 years of experience, Abhishek has worked with companies like Raymond Real Estate, Radius Developers, Keystone Rustamji Group. So the veteran of the industry, Mr. Kapoor, a very warm welcome to you. Our next speaker, I invite Mr. Anubhav Gupta, Chief Executive Officer, Vikroli, Chief CSR and Sustainability Officer, founder of GPL Design Studio, Godrej Properties Limited. Anubhav Gupta is a global award-winning design thinker, strategist, and innovator for whose work strategies both the business and design worlds across industries and asset classes. Anubhav founded the GPL Design Studio at Godrej, a unique multidisciplinary innovation engine with a mandate for design, product development, brand building, and creation of unique customer experience. He leads as business head of the redevelopment of Godrej Land Holdings in Vikhroli. Mr. Gupta, we welcome you on this session. Let me go on and introduce our next panel member, Mr. Akhil Ganatra, Managing Director, Clancy Global. Akhil has over last 15 years established the practice as a first generation built environment consultancy. He has spearheaded the organization to achieve service capabilities across building service design, structural design, project management, and smart infra with integrated sustainability. Under his leadership, Clancy Global has consulted 300 plus million square feet over 700 projects in 85 cities across 5 countries. Mr. Ganatra, a very warm welcome to you. Let me introduce our next very eminent speaker, Mr. Rajendra Joshi, CEO, Residential Brigade Group. In his current role, Mr. Joshi leads Brigade's diverse residential portfolio in 4 cities, Bengaluru, Mysuru, Chennai, and Hyderabad. With a well-rounded experience of over 29 years in FMCG, real estate, sales, marketing, and leadership roles, Mr. Joshi has helped shape brands like Mahindra Life Spaces, SD Corp Real Estate, Reynolds, and BPL. So a very warm welcome to you, Mr. Joshi, veteran of the industry. Now let me introduce our next speaker, again, a seasoned real estate professional, Mr. Shabir Kanchwala, Senior VP Purchase, Contracts, and Project Coordination, K. Raheja Corp. An evangelist for the green cause, Shabir spearheads the sustainability initiatives for real estate, hotels, and malls of K. Raheja Corp, amongst other key functions. With more than 3 decades of real estate expertise, Mr. Shabir began his career as a structural engineer back in Ohio and has come up the ranks to be known in the real estate industry as the torchbearer of the Green Initiative. Mr. Shabir Kanchawala, a very warm welcome to you. Our next and final speaker for the day is Mr. Srinivas Shanbog, Vice President, Retail Business, Schneider Electric India. Srinivas is a highly empathetic, people-centric, strong business leader with over 20 years of experience in B2B and B2C markets. Srinivas, in his current role, heads the retail business for Schneider Electric India. And in his earlier career, he has worked with organizations such as ABG Group, Legro, and Tech Pacific. So this is our very eminent set of speakers for the first session of the day. Mr. Deben Moza, I hand it over to you to take forward the conversation.
Thank you, Sapna, and warm welcome to all the panelists. I'll start.
Mr. Moza, we can't hear you.
So you must.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Technology, I'm not as smart as the products which are in the market. Thank you so much. Very warm welcome to all the panelists, and I'm delighted to be moderating this panel and get enlightened by your experience about smart buildings and smart residences. So I'll kickstart this panel discussion with certain facts which I actually Googled. And the facts are the revenue in the smart home market is projected to reach $4,309 million in 2021. The revenue expected to show an annual growth CAGR of between 2021 to 2025 of 20.3%. Household penetration will be 6.3% in 2021 and is expected to hit 12.8% by 2025. Coming to India, the India smart home market is expected to surpass $9 billion by 2025. I was quite surprised when I got these statistics from Google. The rising need of consumer convenience, safety, and security, energy consumption is a major driver of a smart home market. Moreover, factors such as improved lifestyle, increase in disposable income of people, and surge in awareness of smart automated system have boosted adoption of smart home devices, thus driving the India smart home market growth. In India, the share of population over age of 60 is projected to increase from 8% to nearly 20% by 2050. This demographic trend is expected to continue and will significantly influence the social and economic structure. Also, the explosive population growth and dynamic shift in urban sprawl, coupled with economical growth of megacities in the emerging economies, would pose a variety of opportunities for companies operating in the smart home market segment. According to the World Bank, in 2018, over 34% of Indian population lived in urban areas. By 2030, roughly 41% of the population is expected to live in urban areas. This creates an enormous opportunity for smart home market players. Firstly, I'm privileged to be moderating this panel discussion on thoughtful living, buyers' preference for smart, connected, and efficient homes. And I'm quite sure with the wealth of experience that all the panelists bring to the table, we'll have an interesting discussion and some great takeaways for the audience. So I'll kickstart my panel discussion with a very basic question. And I heard the presentations before. What is a smart home? Or what is a smart building? If I may start with Anubhav, I know you have your designer in you. So tell me about your definition of smart home.
Thanks, Devin. I guess it's a loaded question. I guess a smart home is the opposite of a dumb home, whatever that means. I can certainly give you a developer's perspective on this, right?
And I was expecting a designer's perspective because there are a lot of developers here.
Well, I'm sure you'll find the designer in that as well. It's something I can't help. But just it's in the now, right? The pandemic has made the home a sanctuary or a focus, right? And the sentiment to own a home is at an all-time high. Affordability is at all-time high. And, counterintuitive to before the pandemic and when the pandemic set in, we thought that sales will suffer. And actually speaking, all developers are posting through the roof sales, right? So obviously the need to be smart, connected, efficient, sustainable, all of the good stuff, right? And I guess the easier way to think about this could be that, smartness is both about the hardware and the software. When I say the hardware, it's the designer in me talking. So it's about the design of these homes. And the software obviously is technology, right? And I would say technology is an enabler of the hardware. So it needs to be compatible and it needs to work together, right? And what we are seeing is they're interesting trends and these are not rocket science and, it shouldn't surprise anyone. For example, we are seeing that people want larger spaces. People want more flexible spaces, a husband, wife, 2 kids, there's school going on, there's work going on. So, this idea that spaces can be used for live, learn, work, play. Convenience is important, mixed use, amenities. Health and wellness is important. Safety and security is important. Sustainability is important, right? So on the software side, any technology that can enable these trends to serve its purpose would be smart in my view. Where the user experience is optimized for purpose, joy, productivity, I think works well. So just as a really brief example, everyone's talking about sustainability. Earlier home automation was used as, well, I can sit in my living room and turn off the lights of my bedroom, right? But a lot of people are now talking about using it for responsible use of resources. I can today figure out if I put on the AC for 2 hours, what did it actually cost me? I can program my home to switch on the AC only for 2 hours in certain months and make sure my energy bill is regulated. Right. Similarly for water consumption, similarly for, say, what happens to my waste. And I always like to use a car analogy when it comes to sustainability. In India, as Indians, we always ask this question, kitna average degi when we buy a car? And why aren't people asking the same question of their homes? And I think a smart home is something that could help hopefully answer this question.
So let me jump to Abhishek. How are you dealing with the questions like kitna degi? Like what are the expectations of a consumer? How consumers are thinking differently, pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. We can't say post-pandemic. In fact, we're in the middle of pandemic. So has the mindset or has the demand changed in last 1 year?
Well, I think let me start with what we were doing pre-COVID, and this is something that it's a trend that's been there in the consumer's mind for a while. Consumers have become more and more health and environmentally conscious, and that trend has only accelerated in this whole pandemic. Also, of course, the fact that ownership of homes, the way we used to look at it earlier, or the customer used to look at it earlier, has completely changed, because the quantum of time people have spent in their homes in last 1 year, they have never spent before. And the value of homes, the way and the experience of their homes, the way they used to look at it earlier versus the way they look at it now, especially in context of what's available, who's a neighbor, what support system do they have, and these are softer issues, and not just the hardware, as Anubhav was talking about. And of course, they're now talking about issues like work from home has become a big thing. How many workstations can I put in my home, because I've got me, my wife, my 2 kids at the same time in online classes. The whole expectation from home has completely changed. So that's what's happened during the pandemic. But having said that, the trend of health and sustainability has always been there, and that continues to strengthen. And I'll give you some examples. What we were doing prior to the pandemic is, for us, the way we look at it and the way we understand the consumer's mind is that he's looking at 2 things, really. One is the way they live their life, how you're bringing efficiency to their life and adding value to their life in the form of whether it is energy or convenience or accessibility to everything that they want. So that is part 1. Part 2, how are you helping their health? So 2 things, time and health. When I say time, I mean is convenience and all of the bit that I described in the first part. So what we were doing, for example, is that we had, drinking water off the tap, which is something which is very popular in the West, but not in India. Air purification towers around the complex, because there are many locations where, and then when you're in the outdoors, that pollution is really, air filtration is something which is really important. So that we have, but we had already started. And then, of course, the pandemic converted this whole thing into, talking about touchless lifts and touchless points and access and so on and so forth. And then, of course, the fact that you wanted some outdoor workstations while you were working from home. So these are things that have happened. These are trends that have happened, and the way the design has evolved, especially furniture design. Now we are talking about a completely different ball game. We're talking about smart furniture. So the definition has become so far-reaching in the way people are looking at their homes. You're looking at convertible furniture, which was not something which was so popular in India. But now, more recently, if you look at it, it's very popular in most of the, like in Tokyo, Hong Kong, New York, and so on and so forth. But if you look at India, it wasn't very popular. But we are seeing an increasing trend in that space. So I think the definition of what to expect from a home has completely changed, and it's only accentuated in its form towards health and sustainability.
Thanks. I'll move to Shabir now. So you head sustainability initiative apart from other responsibilities you have. Has sustainability as a buzzword? Earlier it was just a buzzword, I believe. Now it's part of the core values of any developer, and that's what even the consumers are demanding. So how are you addressing that? While you are conscious of the price and then you want to provide smart homes to your buyers. So how are you balancing that, and what's in demand, if I may so ask?
So I think multiple things as far as sustainability is concerned. That's been again going on. A lot of it was driven also by the government.
So I'm sorry, Abhishek, that was for Shabir. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So thank you, Devin. When we started on this journey in the year 2006-7, people thought we were crazy when K. Corp was the first developer in India to go and construct green homes across the west and south of the country. Having said that, I think India as a whole has now moved on, and we are the third or fourth largest green building footprint, in the entire world. So the green home consumer as well as the green office consumer is something which has evolved over a period of time in the last 15, 16 years. And there has been considerable demand in the green office consumer who understands that when he moves into a green office which is sustainable, he's going to save power and water. And so also the case for a green home, where obviously the husband and wife or a working couple who moves in, or even a working husband and housewife who move in, if they end up with less power bills from the society, or for that matter, less water bills from the municipality, that's going to reduce their per maintenance cost. And having said that, these smart homes, when we talk about it, it's kind of incomplete when you don't want to start from a macro level of a smart city to a smart campus, a smart building, and into a smart home. So yes, the smart home technology is relevant in terms of ensuring that we are able to measure these savings in energy and water, and the fact that you are able to control the various gadgets which you have in your particular house. So you want to use them only when you want to use them. So you obviously want to save power for that. So we kind of did this for the first time, in our South Mumbai Viveria project, which is a gold green home, where in addition to the fact that we are giving water from on the tap, we've used various gadgets right from the time as to how the sun will behave. The glass which is used allows the light in and not the heat in, or for that matter, when you look at the flow rate of the shower, or you would look at when you enter your home, uh, the various facets of security, safety, and now the mantra in our organization at K. Corp is touchless, right? So anything what we want to build now is touchless. Right from the time you enter the office, the gate is going to open automatically. The lift can be called by the hand or by a voice call, and even when you enter a residential home lift, or when you enter a home, or when you enter the toilet, you're going to have a touchless tap. You're going to have a touchless flushing system. So COVID has taught us the mantra of going touchless in terms of implementation. So I would end by saying that smart homes in India have evolved in the last 10, 12 years, and it has gone down even to the even for a home which is up to us 1 CR in a city like Pune or for Hyderabad. So it's something which initially started with luxury residential in South Mumbai and has gone all the way now to a home even in Nacharam, Hyderabad. Thank you.
Thanks. My next question is to Rajendra. With people moving to the metros, there's a lot of movement of people, and I just mentioned the statistics, like 41% of the population would be living in urban cities now. Do you think that with this kind of movement, I have two questions, it will accelerate or create a momentum for the smarter homes, or do you think that is a demand which is limited to certain segment of people? Shabir mentioned that earlier, those gadgets and those smartness in the home was sort of a luxury, item. Now, suddenly, I think it's become a basic need. So, how does Brigade look at this?
We believe that urbanization is here to stay for sure, and the statistics that you're quoting and various number different people have been talking about, urbanization in India is here to stay, and the larger cities are going to take the biggest chunk of this urbanization, the 6 or 8 large cities in India. So the way we see it is that the more people come to the cities from the hinterlands or from the smaller cities, they are going to look for places which are closer to their places of work with lesser commute. In fact, Brigade has been one of the pioneers of integrated enclaves, where we have been building places to work, to live, for the children to go to school, for you to go for shopping, etc. The Brigade Gateway, which is in the northwestern part of Bangalore, has been one of the models in this aspect, where we have residential, we have commercial, we have a mall, we have a hotel, we have a hospital, we have a school. So all of it in one place, which in my mind is one of the ways of smart living, that you don't have to consume fuel to go to school or to your place of work or to shop, etc. So in our mind, the places, this is the point that Anubhav and Abhishek were both talking about. People would look for conveniences, a place where they can go to shop, they can go to a pharmacy, they can go to a hospital, at least they can go to a clinic, there's a school nearby. I think that is what people would look more and more for, rather than just look for a place to live. The child goes to school elsewhere, you go to work somewhere else, etc. So we, as part of our development strategy, have been building these integrated enclaves. We built 2 gateway metropolis earlier. We are building 2 more in Bangalore, 1 in Chennai. So we believe that the demand for communities which have a lot of these amenities will increase as we go along. And we believe smartness is a lot about, one, yes, you will want, as Anubhav pointed out, smarter spaces. How do you make the best use of the spaces that you have? Spaces that would consume lesser electricity. Water, for example, in Brigade, we have a technology accelerator called REAP, which has incubated a company called VGOT, which makes water meters for individual homes. And we've started using them in all our projects now, where the consumption in every home is measured. So the homeowner knows that this month I used X number of liters, and last month I used Y number of liters, and the societies can charge them accordingly. And in their experience, this has brought down the water consumption. Moment you make people aware that you're consuming X number of liters of water, the water consumption comes down. So we believe that these kind of measures, where you provide communities which have all these, you provide homes where you can measure your consumption of electricity, which is not just by the total, by the devices, as some of the speakers were talking earlier, measure your consumption of water. These are the things in our mind would make a home smart, and this is what people would look for, rather than just a few switches here or just the home automation. That's what we believe, and that's what we are focusing on.
You made a very interesting point, and I would just like to have everybody's view on this. And I had read this report that we'll see evolution of mixed-use developments more now, considering the pandemic. And in real estate, we also when it comes to commercial offices, we were debating whether you'll have a hub and spoke model for offices, so that people don't have to commute longer distances, and the dependency on public transport is minimized. So as developers, and very quickly from Abhishek to Anubhav to Shabir and Rajat, in your long-term planning, are you looking at creating more mixed-use developments to address the issues of smart campuses than just a standalone residential building?
Yeah,
I'll
so
start with your take.
sure. So Devin, we've like Brigade, we have also been at Purvankara doing a lot of mixed-use developments, and the idea is obviously to provide all the convenience at your doorstep, including your neighborhood shopping and social infrastructure that's required. But having said that, I think one more thing which is interesting, the way we look at it, if this work from home becomes more sustainable, uh, uh, and that's the paradox that we are dealing with, and that's how we see it. That if you don't need to access your office as often as you used to in the past, you would be open to staying further away from your office, and that basically will require you to travel fewer number of times, and therefore maybe make it have more affordable larger homes in slightly more distant places. So that is one paradox that we are also looking at, watching closely in terms of watching the trends. But having said that, I think mixed use development is the way to go. A lot of developments will require these new initiatives, and to meet the customer expectations, to be able to provide for even smaller things like online classes, e-tuitions and things like that, which are going to continue to come in. So mixed use, but with a lot of social infrastructure is going to be the way forward.
Thanks.
For us, again, mixed use has been a successful venture. We've done the trees development in Bombay. I think it's been challenging to do mixed use in India because planning codes are quite complex. The way commercial planning code works and the way residential planning code works is quite separate. The moment you start mixing those things up, it becomes quite challenging. And however, the upside is that when we did our project, the local authorities were quite open. We were able to talk to them. We were able to explain things to them. The idea of mixed use would be that seamlessly you should be able to have the choices to live, learn, work, play, right? And typically in the Indian setting, when you've got a small tract of land, you end up putting these boundary walls between uses and things like that. So it becomes quite challenging. So I think it's a new trend. We certainly believe in it. I think the next format for India would be mixed use and mixed income together. This happens quite successfully overseas. That's what makes vibrant cities and vibrant neighborhoods. Of course, one has to have a large enough development opportunity in terms of land to be able to do that. The trouble again is that a lot of this, the onus is on private enterprise, because if you did a large township, if you looked at the rules, you could get away by not necessarily having that much mixed use, meaning you could do a purely residential township. We know that it won't be successful, but people have made that mistake in the past. But I think things are changing. So I hope more people do it, and we make our cities more vibrant in that way.
Thanks. Akhil, you wanted to.
Yeah, on this, because sort of most of them are developers and we come from a consulting practice. So we've got a very and we do research in smart infrastructure in Amsterdam, Singapore, UK and India, so that we can apply things in India, and it is very contextual. But when developers talk about mixed use, and what Anubhav said is bang on, we've got compound walls. Would a Brigade and Purvankara developer next to each other open their compound walls? Both of them build a 50,000 square feet clubhouse. Could it be 150,000, 130,000? Forget the authorities. Would private developers open their compound walls? Let's start with there. So if private developers open the compound walls, you get so much more social infrastructure, neighborhood integration that you just can't imagine. And you're selling the same value of homes next to each other. So this is a cynical view to it, of course, a discomforting view of it. But the more sort of positive view of this is you should start calling mixed use dynamic use. How can the same square foot be used through a fabric of time? You get assets that are empty in the evening. You still have the capacity of the people. If you see how Scandinavia is developing, and Scandinavia is known to be the happiest place and the rest of it, So somewhere principally, they've got everything underground placed. So if you want to do plug and play, what is smart? Smart is first plug and play. Are you provisioning for something? Forget installing the hardware for it. So mixed use is more dynamic use. This is my two pieces on this topic. Of course, I've got many pieces on other topics, but compound walls, will developers open to each other? Yes or no? I don't know. But stop calling mixed use, call them dynamic use, because the same social space is getting used for many different things through the fabric of the day, through the fabric of the year. We've got festivals. Wow. If you go to the world, there's only Christmas.
Right. Thanks. My next question is to Srinivas. We heard presentation from your colleagues, and when we talk about smart homes, is there a holistic solution that Schneider would have rather than just fragmented solution? How do you approach that? So I was to build a home, or you were approached by Purvankara or Brigade, would you come up with a holistic plan in terms of this is how you can make your buildings or your home, apartments smart, rather than just telling them, okay, you have put a camera, you put a sensor. So how is the approach of Schneider and sort of for the smart homes? Is it a holistic approach you have?
Well, Devan, so first of all, very good evening to everyone on the panel as well as on the audience. Very interesting insights from all of you, very diverse sometimes, but more, I think, clearer. And I just want to open up this topic before I answer your question, Devan, is are we talking smart? Now, smart is something, I feel it is just a caption. I think there are a lot of fundamental needs. So yes, now I think Akhil, most of the people on the panel have been working on various projects across the globe, in different countries. So if I have traveled a lot of places and lived in places, I see most of the things what we talk about smart in India are something which are fundamental or basic needs in many other parts of the world. So this is where I beg to differ, and I think for me, smart is all about more connected, making things more connected inside the home, outside the home, and people were talking about smart townships, smart cities. I think smart homes, smart townships, smart cities, they're all interconnected. So they are all individual pieces, but can be connected at one point of time, and that is what the smart city concept is all about in many countries. Okay. So it's all about connectivity. It is all about security. It's all about bringing in efficiency. It is all about bringing in comfort and safety inside the homes. I think, yes, thanks to the pandemic, I think, quite a lot of things have been come up as an urgency, and people have started feeling the need. Probably, I look forward in the coming years, this becomes a kind of a basic thing, and also to reach a larger mass of the society than a very section of the society. Okay, so in terms of Schneider Electric, we being a global specialist in energy management and automation as a service provider, I think we are very clear in terms of bringing our technologies to homes in a very holistic perspective. We are not limiting ourselves, to any specific one or two instances or any specific areas. I think we believe that our smart home IoT or our open bus concept would connect with the larger community, larger society, as well as a part of the whole smart city concept. Okay. So we are beginning with the IoT story in India, which is bringing some of the very fundamental things which have been fragmented by various other brands. I don't want to get into it, but our story was to bring in something together from one place which can be put together, which is more holistic. Not to talk about being just because we are a part of this show, I don't want to make this as a brand campaign for us, and that's not my objective. Maybe Akhil and the rest of the panelists would be more embarrassed. So that is not my agenda of the call today. Probably I urge all the developers and all the designers, everyone on this call, to be a part of the story in building the story. So we as a company bring in a lot of technology, to make sure that it is a holistic solution. It is an open solution where not only just Schneider Electric, rest of the people can also hook onto that solution and be a part of the solution. Because when you talk about something smart, it cannot be done by one brand or one OEM. It has to be a part of a story which is integrated. That is where we talk about our IoT solutions are more open protocols. So this is where we can bring in multiple solutions from different vendors together and put it in a common platform. So that is what our Wiser story is all about, which is a very, very true global story across the globe. This is something been there for several years across the globe, which we have developed it more looking at the Indian standards and looking at the Indian environment. And I think it's a very, very interesting story. It helps you to connect all your devices at home, which is connected. Second, it brings you a larger sense of security with our surveillance and video door phones on your app. Third, it helps you more on your energy. Specifically, people were talking about energy conservation as well as water conservation. These are also both the topics which can give you interesting data insights. I'm not going to commit saying that we're going to help you in conserving something. We're going to open up a lot of data in front of you people. What is that you do? What are the things which can be more interesting for you in terms of predictability as well as the preventability. Third is all about convenience and comfort. I think that's something which is given today, and these are the areas which we are going to work. And it's not just us. We're going to work with a lot of partners of different industries, in the different OEMs, designers, everyone. And this is just the beginning of our journey.
Thanks so much. Shabir, do you think that with the inclusion of smart technologies, the focus is not, we spoke about convenience, but I think somewhere we have to think about the wellness and health factor as well, especially for senior citizens. So how do you address that in your projects, where you factor in certain age group using your residential apartments?
So what we did, in fact, we registered the first well project with the US Green Building Council for a residential tower in Worli in the world. So primarily, even before the pandemic, we did this almost 2 years back. I would say 3 years back. 1 year of pandemic being gone through. So our residential project at Worli is got the whole wellness bit. So the wellness bit where it looks at the health and occupancy of the green home consumer. So primarily, it's a lot of active engineering which goes in terms of when you talk about wellness and health and safety of an occupant. So I would give a 6-level air conditioning filter in that particular room. So the fresh air in your room is as good as the air outside. Or if you look at an operation theater where there is 100% air cycle changes, so that is a kind of fresh air which is going to go into the common areas or anywhere else. Having said that, when you look at holistically in India, we still have a long way to go in providing actual wellness or health and safety of an occupant. It has evolved in the office space where you have all kinds of green technologies to control the light and air, which works for a person working in a green office. In a green home in India, where the amount of fresh air which needs to come in, the natural fresh air is something also which we all look at in terms of providing, windows right from the bottom of your slab to the top of your beam. So a huge amount of fresh air comes in, because as Indians, we generally don't want to put on our air conditioners for 24/7, unlike Dubai or Singapore. So when you look at the other aspects of safety or health and wellness in the COVID scenario, having separate rooms, providing an extra room, for a study, giving more toilets to the room, so that in case of any eventuality that infected person gets to use his small room with a toilet. So the evolution of health and wellness in a green home is, if you were to ask me, it's still at a very nascent stage. It has evolved. I mean, it should evolve to a point where you have genuine health and wellness, gadgets or CP sanitary, or for that matter, air condition in the flat.
Thanks. Rajendra, your views on wellness, sustainability, health and safety.
Me as
How's
well.
Brigade addressing those? Sorry, Akhil, I'll come to you after that.
Yeah, it's been an hour, so I'm thinking that there is going to be some time you're going to give me prime time.
I will give you prime time. You're next. You're next, though.
Reality of.
Yeah. So I would say that wellness, as Shabir did point out, is something which hasn't really moved up the priority index of the developers. It's slowly coming in. It's coming in largely in case of senior homes or those which are built for those who are 50 plus or 60 plus. But in a normal home, we all are looking at common facilities like your gyms or sporting facilities or having doctor's clinic and stuff like that. The wellness quotient has only been built with the common amenities which are there, or by the factors that Shabir talked about, by providing larger windows, ensuring that you get enough sun, the light and sun in your homes, etc., which I'm sure Anubhav and people of his area would be really working on. I've seen that homes that have been designed with these factors in mind have done well for sales for us, where, for example, if there is a flat which is open on 3 sides, those for you can be dead sure that they will sell much faster than where you have only 2 sides or only 1 side which is open. So those have been there, but it is not easy because you have a constraint on FSI, you have a constraint of the land. So all those weigh in, but wellness in that aspect has been there, but on others, I think we are yet to gear up as a country.
Thanks. Okay, now entire limelight is on you.
No, I'm going to take 5 minutes. I mean, to be honest, it's just a matter of giving views in between, right? So you can stitch the other's view. Now, everyone's spoken 2 times. If I have to stitch all of them together, I'll need more than 2 post-its. Anyways, sorry for being a little cynical. I'm not generally like this, just feeling a little cranky, maybe not enough food, but let's get to it. We are talking about sustainability and smart. You need to know the difference. It's pretty objective. Sustainability is about operational efficiency and the guy who's paying the bill. Smart is about user experience and how much more money can the asset owner make. Okay, so it's sort of that as objective as that. So in smart, user experience got added. In sustainability, there was operational efficiency. The other 2 aspects are the cynical views of those 2. Also, we've been talking a lot about automation. We need to know that automation is graded. I did intelligent building technology in Singapore way back in '99. And that time they taught us don't over automate. So if they taught us 21 years ago, don't over automate, then we have to be very cynical of what we automate as well. I'm not saying it's not required. So I'll just set down the grades of automation. Your first grade of automation is what Vidisha started off with, is passive automation, which means the machine knows what to do. It doesn't require any human intervention to bring efficiency. The second grade of automation is actually self-consciousness. What everyone is talking about, कि water meter किया तो पानी का consumption कम होता है. All global studies for smart cities showcase that just by showing consumption of electricity, water, and waste, you can reduce consumption by 60% without any technology. Self-consciousness, second level of automation. So one, you've got the self-consciousness of the IBMS system itself. Second, you've got the self-consciousness of human beings. And then comes all the automations which is related to personal comfort. Because most of how we occupy the office or how we occupy a home or how we occupy any asset class is a data trend. Now, what we don't talk sufficiently about is post-occupancy analytics. All of us at design stage and provisioning stage talk about ye denge, wo denge, school denge, ye denge, sab acha hoga. But smart infrastructure talks about 6 levels of activation. Level of activation number 1 is defined use. Level of activation number 2 is circulation. What paths people use to go to where they're going. Third is congregation. Where are the people that they can congregate, breakout spaces, lobbies, etc. Once you've gone to that, you've got this very sort of elusive layer in some sense is the neighborhood. We spoke about compound walls. We talk about smart neighborhoods. Before we make smart cities, we'll have to make smart neighborhoods. So till our assets don't start working bottom up and start influencing at least 2 kilometer radius from where they're developing, how are we going to get smart cities? Government still has to put sanitation, data cables. We have to be connected to data cable. नहीं डालेगा government पैसा डाल के तो क्या करेगा? You're expecting the government to do wonders with the smart city principle, but they're putting the base infrastructure in. Okay, so in some sense, post-occupancy analytics, Schneider should sponsor research on post-occupancy analysis, because the only way to sell more of their technology is by knowing how the occupant is using the technology while they're in their homes. So we've got that. Now, our research, one sentence that throws up is the Copenhagen Smart City document. It says, if you focus only on technology and not on human behavior, you're not going to be smart. So what is human behavior? Self-consciousness is human behavior. Creating clubs within your big societies, for them having tournaments for cricket, football, all sorts of things. In Scandinavia, physical assets has an ad tech revenue to it. If developers have to listen to it, it's got an ad tech revenue to it. We are still thinking about our mobile phones, but we look 2 inches about our mobile phones ever so often, either to play basketball or just talk to your spouse. So the ad tech revenue of physical spaces is way more than mobile phone spaces, because the intimacy of data that you have got is much higher. Your CPM and CPC will be paid higher as well. So, I mean, that's my two pieces. Just last thing, what Anurag said was very right. Hardware and software. Evolution of hardware has grown significantly. Our laptops, our CPUs have not changed in the last 10 years or in the last 5 years. It's the software layer. Don't over automate, because you get software to make dashboards. UK taught us in Manchester, you can have dashboard diarrhea, because you're looking at so many dashboard के खाली feeling आ रही है कि कलर इतने अच्छे भरे हुए हैं, लेकिन उसमें से usable data कौन सा है? So don't over automate. Singapore taught us, and dashboard diarrhea, UK taught us. Everything else in between is.
You muted yourself. Okay, thanks. Coming back to health and wellness, Anubhav, to you, and then I'll go to Abhishek. How are you addressing those in your new developments?
I'd agree with the other panelists on health and wellness. I think a lot of this is in its early days. Again, to take an extreme example, I like to think in analogies, so it helps me think a little better. Different asset classes are merging. So in a way, the sort of medical asset class is merging with the residential asset class. And Shabir talked about, things like air changes and the kind of environment that you might get in a hospital to minimize infection, whether it's touchless, whether it's air changes, things like that. There's also a wellness standard these days. Every now and then you'll hear about these newspaper things that you get vitamin enriched showers and stuff like that. Now, I think there's a danger on the marketing spin side, just like how sustainability has greenwashing. I think there would be something to do with wellness washing, and we should try and get the basics right. For us, for example, what we've done is, and again, I think some of the other panelists talked about this, air pollution is a big problem in our cities, right? So in NCR, for example. So we figured out a centralized air purification system, not rocket science, not that it's not been done before. It was just not being done in the residential space, right? Now, we would like it to become hygiene. We work in Bangalore, and water is a major problem. In some places way back, out of the city limits, you don't even have government water. So we were perplexed. Now we're doing due diligence for a deal, and we're figuring out if we should take the land or not. Now there's no water. So we worked with geologists. We tried to figure out how do we recharge surface water? What would be the tanker consumption till the water comes? Now, these are very non-sexy parts of the equation, right? I mean, someone's got to figure out how this stuff will get done, and for real, right? And these are basics. So, I think we need to get our basics right. Again, one small example, we're working with waste. I mean, in India, you cannot figure out where your waste goes. We've done studies with IIT, we've done everything. You ask the excavation contractor, kitna waste kahan jata hai, koi batane ko taiyar nahi hai. Kyun? Kyunki it's parcelized and sold off. So, you run up against these hurdles when you think about wellness at the basic level. So early days yet, we are trying, we are staying away from the wellness washing for now. In any case, which is not something that works with our value set. We're trying to get the basics right. And hopefully once we get the basics right, we'll get to the other stuff, the more sophisticated.
Thanks, Abhishek, your views.
So, the way we are looking at it, okay, I think we are trying to address what we can address. The big issues of the society and the big issues of generally people at large probably needs some time and effort from all of us to take some initiatives together. But from what we can do and the way we look at health and wellness, I think the needs of there are different set of people at different age groups and gender staying in your projects and or staying, working, shopping, whatever it is that they're doing. Every age group and gender profile, every profile of the customer has a different need for health and wellness. Are you doing all that is required to address those needs is the question we need to answer for ourselves. So I'll give you some examples of what we have done. And this is just an innovative way of using spaces from within the project to give an opportunity for people. And the more we see it, the more we realize people are far more fitness conscious, not just fitness in terms of physical fitness, but mental fitness, the way they want to feel their peace and tranquility and the way they want to experience life. So for the way we are understanding it is people, health and wellness is a lot about experiences that they have in the project, in the spaces that you create and that you can create because you have that opportunity to create those spaces. And that's how we look at it. So, for example, we've done something very, very interesting. We've created different levels of run in a particular project. We've used a staircase to create a run up the staircase, which takes up the difficulty level to the highest level, while we have a ground level walk and a terrace level walk at the same time. So it addresses different age groups for different purposes. For children, there are so many things that you can do because children have, as they grow up, they need multiple intelligences get developed, and they have different experiences to stimulate those intelligences. So what can you do to do those things? So as I said, different age groups have different needs, and if we can address those in projects by using our spaces, I think that will address a lot of stuff, and a lot of quality of life will improve.
Thanks. My next question is to Srinivas. I think most of the people who would be listening to this panel discussion would be interested in knowing that we spoke about future buildings and smart buildings. How can we make old buildings smart without any disruption? Is that something Schneider is focusing on?
I think a very, very good question. I think most of our things have been focused around new buildings, and I think this is where now we've left a lot of opportunity for the existing consumers or existing homes to upgrade to smart. So, and Akhil also told about it. It is a smart has to be plug and play. It cannot be wired. It cannot be integrated story every time unless it is a green building. So this is where our story and our technology comes in, where we want to give an opportunity to a lot of people who have already built their dream homes and probably want to upgrade it to the time now. Probably they built 20 years back, 15 years back, so want to take it to the next level, add to update it to the time. Here is a good opportunity for them to go with the Schneider Electric now IoT solutions now, which can enable all the smart integrated devices inside their homes, and it's just pure plug and play. No wiring, no zero wiring, no breaking of walls, nothing required. No, we promise to upgrade any existing home smart in flat 4 hours.
Thank you. Akhil, your views.
I mean, Not many, to be honest. I think everyone look at everything. But in terms of health and wellness, to be honest, if you read most of the healthcare documents and Ayushman Bharat, and we do a lot of work in healthcare, preventive healthcare is something that rarely anyone looks at. And medical office buildings, as are built globally, where there are buildings just built for doctors to occupy, maybe could find its space in India as well. Because we are producing enough doctors, we are just not giving them enough spaces to occupy probably. Because otherwise, the number of doctors we have in A cities, it's way higher than many bloody developed countries. Maybe B, C cities we are struggling, but these medical office buildings could become command centers to support a B or C city. I don't know. I mean, at this point, if you're really talking about health and wellness, you have to start from preventive care, because most governments are working on preventive care because that's why they can reduce the cost of healthcare.
Thank you. And I just, crossed time by 1 minute. And as a project manager, I have to keep track of that as well. I personally wish to express my gratitude to all of you for sharing your experiences and thoughts. I wish we had more time to discuss. Akhil, you've been upset with me that I'm not giving you enough time, but you need to understand that we had 6 panelists and I had to focus on each and every one.
You can buy me a couple of beers in Bombay. I'll be okay with it.
Yeah, you have to make Bombay safe for me to travel. I'll be happy to treat you with the beers. Thank you so much, gentlemen, and it was pleasure listening to you and your experiences. Over to you, Sapna.
Well, that was one fantastic discussion. I think, we touched upon a lot of, in spite of limitation of time, on software, on hardware, on, even over automation, human element. And also we had the mention of now after greenwashing, it is the wellness washing, which will be the new term being used. So, Mr. Moza, very fantastically, you managed all the speakers and got the best out of them. We have some, a lot of questions. In fact, we had a question about, third-party integration, which Srinivas addressed in his, conversation that, yes, there are products which are open and are scalable and third-party integration open to that. We have one question is that most of these smart devices are dependent on internet. And given the Indian scenario, how dependable are these smart devices? Is there another option for connecting the devices?
It's a pretty simple question. I think India, even though we say we are very largely connected, urban and rural, still when I see some of the places, the connectivity is very bad, and we still hardly get less than 100 Mbps data in our place. So this is where we're talking about technologies which can be futuristic. Wi-Fi is a technology, I think, which is still a futuristic technology for India, and we're working on a couple of other technologies like Z-Wave and Zigbee, which are more kind of a repeater-based solutions, which are for current situations on IoT. These are the things which we have adopted and which we found that pretty decent and doing well in Indian conditions.
Okay, great. Another question is there a tool to simulate electricity consumption based on occupants' behavior? Is there some kind of a tool to have a forecast of the electricity consumption?
Yeah, I mean, we should use them. Energy modeling and CFD analysis. We talk about windows. Secretly, all of you should do CFD analysis to see what is the percentage of opening you need below the window and above the window. I'm sure Mr. Kachwala has done a fair bit of that because he's a veteran in this one. But yeah, there is energy modeling, computational fluid dynamics, very easy tools, not very expensive either now. They used
anything
to be,
for homeowners, which probably homeowners can look at?
Install an energy meter and start seeing how much you're consuming if you're already a homeowner.
I can take that, Sapna. So these days you can buy a little plug device for 12 or 1400 bucks. You put it as an intermediary between your AC and your electric socket. It's connected to your phone. It'll tell you how much electricity you're consuming. It'll also convert it into rupees spent. You can regulate it by your phone, and you can put it off and put it on. So 1200 bucks buys you that level of empowerment. So by all means, just go out there and look for these things.
I have a very, very
Okay, fantastic. So we have such products out
Sapna,
right there
for
for
this solution.
individual audit.
This is something which is an integrated part of the distribution board, which goes in every home. Every house owner would get a clear kind of a data integrity on a real-time basis. What is the consumption and by devices and by appliances, and he can draw out a kind of a dashboard and decide, and also control, not just monitoring and also control.
Okay, okay. Mr. Moza, you can decide which speaker should take this next question. They said, does the development of smart homes, smart buildings and cities improves people's lives?
Okay, I
Mr.
think
Moza, your call. The
Mr.
speaker should take.
Mr. Kanchwala can address that.
So I didn't get the last part, Sapna. What life? Sorry.
They are asking, does development of smart homes, buildings and cities will help improve people's lives?
So I guess, that's the whole intent, right? That's the whole intent. And this country has evolved both in the design and planning and execution in the real estate field from 1990. If you were to see the homes in the 1970s and 60s, and what we are building now is obviously what helped in a certain amount of making people's lives simpler. Of course, the definition of simpler is different for people of my generation and for the millennium. But I guess the present homes are all millennium compliant, and it is something which they would want to look at. Yes, I would definitely agree that people's lives have become much more easier with the present level of home design. Thank you.
That's a good news. Mr. Moza, if you can summarize the entire discussion we had and your point of view.
Okay, that's a very difficult thing to do. Yeah, we spoke about technology. We spoke about the human element. We spoke about integration or development of new kind of developments like mixed use and all those things, and the products. Anubhav, I'll connect with you for that 1,200 rupee meter. I'm sure Schneider would have something like that. So I think what's happening is it's not only about technology, it's also about the human behavior and what has happened in last 1 year. The awareness of about health and wellness. So all clubbed together have evolved as a smart solution. I think in a nutshell, I can say everything combined together would create a smart home.
Okay, that's fantastic. And when we are talking about smart home, again, it is about efficiency, about safety, about wellness, and we have a bit of challenges, but I think we are on the right direction. So thank you so much to all our panelists for being here, sharing their time, sharing their expert views. And we have a lot of questions. Probably we will take them online, and I will individually probably present it to all our speakers. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Moza, for that wonderful moderation once again. Thanks, Anubhav, sharing your views, giving us that very relevant information. Akhil, for your views, we need one cynical definitely person on the panel. And Mr. Joshi, Mr. Abhishek Kapoor, and Mr. Shabir for being here. Srinivas, thank you, and sharing those product details with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, well, that was one very, interesting panel discussion that we had. We will now quickly move on to our next panel discussion, which is again on equally, interesting topic. And we have some eminent experts with us. But let's have a very short AV before that. And let me also remind all our viewers, do continue to tag us in your posts at Realty Plus, RP Realty Plus on Facebook and Twitter, and RP_Realty on Instagram. So let's take a look at this very short AV.
full of people telling you who to believe they are. Well, we thought we'd tell you who we're not. Let's start here. We're not in shipping. We don't make lifts. Seriously, no lifts. We do this. We're good at this. And we make all of these. And even though you'll find us here and here, we don't make energy. We make you save it. And you'll be saving the environment too. Are we an internet company? Well, we connect and power just about everything around you, helping machines talk to each other and to you, making your world more personal. We're seeking out the big questions and answering them honestly. Like, how can we make the most of our energy and resources? Or can we make access to energy and digital basic human rights? We're real people, employees, developers, partners, investors, and inventors, all passionate about doing what's right. We're open. Humans of all sorts from all over, learning from each other and about each other. We're not here to save the world. It'll go on with or without us. We're here to be your digital partner for sustainability and efficiency, to ensure life is on everywhere, for everyone, at every moment.
So well, again, after we are back with our next set of speakers, and the topic of our discussion is agile and green designs, technology shaping functionality, safety, and sustainability. Can we have our speaker slide introductions? So introducing our speakers of this session, let me first introduce our moderator, Mr. Jayant Vetha. He's the Director and Head Design Services Colliers. An architect with master's degree in urban design, Mr. Jayant Vetha has over 30 years of extensive experience. Over the last 2 decades in India, Jayant and his team have been involved in leading the architectural design and master plan of many key real estate developments, and he has been instrumental in spearheading large-scale design assignments for Colliers in India, Middle East, and Africa. Mr. Jayant Vetha, a very warm welcome to you. Let me now introduce our speakers of the session in an alphabetical order. Let me introduce our first speaker of the session, Mr. Dinesh Verma, Principal Architect and Managing Director, ACE Group Architects Private Limited. Architect Dinesh Verma set up ACE Group Architects in Bangalore in 1984, which over the years has grown into a multidisciplinary practice with diverse portfolio of architectural projects across the country. Architect Dinesh Verma's focus has now developed into educational architecture expertise, and in his 30 years of architectural practice, he has designed more than 80 schools, 8 engineering colleges, and 2 universities. Architect Dinesh Verma, a very warm welcome to you. It's a pleasure to have you on the panel. Let me introduce our next speaker of the session, Architect Divya Kush. He is the immediate past president of Indian Institute of Architects and is also the member for Central Vista Committee. Architect Divya Kush, a veteran of the industry, has more than 4 decades of experience in the profession and has been associated with all types of projects to include institutional buildings, residential complexes, commercial and industrial establishments, etc. He has been passionately involved in academic affairs and has also served as a member of the Board of Studies, Academic Councils, Executive Councils, and Board of Governors of several architectural institutes. Mr. Divya Kush, welcome to the session, and we look forward to hearing your views. Our next speaker of the session, I introduce Ms. Kavita Shastri, Principal Architect, KS Design Studio. Ms. Kavita Shastri is an alumni of BMSCE, Design Philosophy Simple, which is marriage of form and function, aesthetics and practicality. In 2016, she initiated CODE, studio at Triple ID that focuses on doing pro bono design for community projects in Bengaluru. This collaborative studio has completed numerous government schools and orphanages, including the restoration of the 108-year-old government school in Murphy Town. Ms. Kavita Shastri, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you.
Our next eminent speaker on this panel is Architect Pooja Bihani, founder and principal architect, Space and Design. Architect Bihani is an established and a well-known architect and interior designer in Kolkata, West Bengal. Her interior and architectural firm is equipped with the capability to execute complete end-to-end turnkey interior projects as well as architecture. Pooja is an invited executive core committee member of the prestigious Triple ID Forum of Kolkata chapter. Ms. Bihani, a very warm welcome to you. It's great to have you as part of the session. Our next eminent speaker, I introduce architect Rahul Dalvi. He's the co-founder for Dalvi Associates. Rahul Dalvi established Dalvi Associates in 1997. The firm work profile covers institutional works like school and educational campuses, hospitals, industrial architecture, urban design of congested city pockets, commercial and residential schemes, residences, to theater sets and interiors of commercial and residential spaces. So a varied experience of architect Rahul Dalvi. It's a pleasure to have him here on this panel. Our final member of this session is Nandan Mahale, Head Visor, Home and Distribution, Schneider Electric. Mr. Mahale currently heads Visor, the smart home solution from Schneider Electric, and he has over 15 years of industry experience in research and development, product designing, and global marketing across a diverse range of solutions and products. So this was our eminent set of speakers that we have today. Mr. Vetha, over to you to take forward the conversation.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sapna. That was really great. And it's really great to have so many eminent speakers today and a very, very interesting topic to cover, right? Like agile and green design, technology shaping the functionality, safety, and sustainability. Technology is always been shaping us, or we probably been more than that, shaping the technology. That is always a debate going on. So this is something and very, very interesting topic to discuss with so eminent panel here. And let me kind of open the discussion with sort of in a broad policy level to Mr. Architect Divya Kush, right? I don't see the video of Mr. Divya Kush. Is he there?
Yeah, I'm there.
All right, yeah, fantastic, great, yeah. Sir, great having you here, and we heard so much about your work at Indian Institute of Architects, and so my actually always been a little kind of curious on how is that at the policy level things are working. So my first question to you would be is that how is our development policies can be reworked to align sustainability and sustainable development? I'm sure you're working at a much higher level with the government on various issues pertaining to the design, infrastructure, development. Any insight you can share with us how the development can be reworked to achieve or align at policy level to achieve the sustainability?
Okay, thank you very much, first of all, for the kind words in the introduction that has been given of me. And as far as this sustainability issue is concerned, we have been talking about sustainability, green architecture, this architecture, that architecture for a very long time. And what I have observed is over the period, there is lack of a comprehensive understanding of what goes with the issue of sustainability. That is one thing which we need to address immediately, that what we really mean by sustainable development, sustainable growth, sustainable architecture, sustainable environment. It's very fashionable to say sustainable, but what it is exactly,
Yes.
So the comprehensive understanding of sustainability is very important while we make policies. Yes, there are regular issues of education, awareness, then incentives for sustainable architecture, sustainable design, sustainable development in whatever way we like to think about it. But unless the people at the grassroots are involved in the entire process. Making a single building sustainable in our terminology, or a building or two, or a city or two, is not going to give us the desired results. The United Nations UNESCO program, they've got 16 sustainable goals. If we understand all those goals comprehensively and then come out with a, consolidated approach towards sustainable development, and that's a very well researched document we have discussed in our Union of International Architects also, and we are actively pursuing those objectives at our much larger professional level and internationally. So sustainability cannot be an isolated and it's area specific thing, subject specific thing. It has to be absolutely comprehensive.
Yes.
And that's where our policy makers must give attention.
Yes, I agree. That's actually very well put in. First of all, at nationwide level, we must define what do we mean by sustainability, and up to what level it can be a sort of implemented, and a framework to implement it probably at the countrywide level, at the building level. I think it's a very well put in, sir. Thank you so much. I will come back to you later. Let me just go to architect Dinesh Verma. Dinesh sir, are you there? Dinesh sir, can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right, yeah. So great, sir. I have a question for you. Is that given the digital technologies can enable healthier, safer, more efficient building, and say the way forward is the upgradation of the home, what are the challenges and potential while implementing the technologies in retrofitting of properties to make it a smart home or a smart building? Our buildings, some of them are old, some of them are recently built, and probably may or may not be adaptable to the new technology. So I'm sure these are the questions, those are the issues you might be facing day in, day out. And probably sort of further to that is that learning the lessons, so our future design be more flexible to adapt to any future technologies comes. What is your views on that?
Thanks, Jan. It's a large, sphere which
very broad.
Yeah, the question has been so long. I hope my answer is short and it is more towards what we are and the audience is looking forward to.
Yeah. No, I can put the question on a very short format that how do you retrofit to fit in the smart home,
Sure,
right?
sure.
And existing. Correct.
Those are the main points, definitely.
Yes,
now,
true.
Yeah, that's what we all know, that a happy home is a healthy home. And
correct.
The life of a home is very large as compared to the life of the human beings or the family who's staying in it.
Yes.
And if we look back and then just see as to, how the home started and what was the issue and why we need something which is so smart and which is so, which gives us so much of safety, will give us a peek as to, what are we looking forward to in the long run. So, if you look back and see as to when a man or a human being started making a shelter, the shelter which he was looking forward to was basically to provide safety from natural, things, weather and all that thing, or from animals. Today, the shelter which we design these things are not needed at all. Animals have become our friends. We don't need protection from them. We have been able to capture all the natural things of, whether it is sun, rain, wind, whatever. Today, we are looking forward to safety from whom? From our own social beings, from the same human community around us. True. It is something which we people have turned absolutely 180 degrees. It's really sad when you analyze the situation that look at this, what we are doing to ourselves today. We need safety from ourselves, not from other people. But anyway, we have come to a stage like that today. And this scenario is ever changing. It's sort of going on and on. Our families, which used to be really big, have also started becoming smaller. And now we are in a stage where we are almost like a nucleus family. So all these things have been changing and changing. And what is really consistent is that human beings, irrespective of what the change would be, always looks forward to the happiness, as what you said, to his health, to his safety, and wants to be more efficient and more efficient all the time. So the morning of a human being starts off, with his favorite cup of coffee, with the right mix, the right sugar at the right time. And then for his own happiness, for him to do better work, he wants to continue that and have the right type of temperature for his bath, and looks forward to going, having a healthy meal. All this was provided to the human being by his own family members till recently. His mother in the morning would make the best coffee at the right time and serve it to him. Or his grandmother, whenever this fellow was not well, would give him the right type of concoction of herbs and things and all, so that the throat gets okay. Now today, when we do not have any of these things next to us, and we still want to be happy, we still want to be safe, we look forward to technology.
Yeah,
and
very
we are
well
still
put
in the
it.
old house, which was made by my grandfather. So what I'm trying to just put in is that the people have changed, the youth have changed, but we still need the same happiness and kindness and all. We do not know who our neighbor is. He stays just across the common wall, and we need to be safe from him. So this issue of getting in technology, bringing in technology, making it together, putting it together so that human beings will be able to get that happiness, so that the coffee machine will deliver the right coffee, or the geyser and the thing will give the right temperature of water, has put in the thing where we are looking forward to what is today called digitally smart. And this has become from a norm to something which is really required. If you do not get any of these things in the beginning of your day is going to be terrible. Your day is going to be bad, which will lead to other things. In fact, I would suggest everybody to see the good old Charlie Chaplin movie of 1936 called Modern Times,
Yes,
where
true.
he tried to project all these technologies, what we are talking about today. So this dependency of the technology has become very important. And now looking at the old houses which was made by my grandfather, and which I want to stay and where I want to have all the things, we need to basically look at technology which comes and helps us. Let me give you one or two small examples. The first time I ever started using technology in an old house was somewhere way back in 1989-90, where somebody came to my office and said that he has developed a smart switch, which is called a proximity switch, so that if your window or a door is open more than so much, the alarm will set in. And we wired kilometers of wires in that one house, basement, ground, first, second, so that any door or window which is open beyond 2 or 3 inches, the alarm will set off. Demonstrations were done, everything was working. But in the morning, if the alarm was not put off and the owner used to go and open the door to take his milk bottle or the newspaper, the alarm will set in. And that itself became a big thing. But the best thing was, the neighbor did not know why the alarm is ringing. And it became foolishness. So putting the technology into an old building and using it in the right way is also very, very important, and we have to consciously do it. Another incident, let me tell you, very odd, where we put in this smart technology into a building for one of the who's who. So there was this, automatic remote control switches for your lights. We put on the thing. He was very happy. Everybody did the clap, 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 clap. Finally, in the night when he wanted to sleep, he was not able to put off the lights. And you won't believe it, what was done was servants were called and all the bulbs of his bedroom were removed so that that fellow could sleep in his room. So retrofitting old buildings with the new technology, with the type of people also is a bit of an issue. But we need it today, and most of our projects, what we are doing, we put in right from, doing simple changes, like changing the bulbs, changing the type of gadgets and equipments what you have. Because smartness is not only security or something, it is something to do together. And that togetherness is what makes your building very smart. The good thing what has happened is that technology has been working towards it, by which you do not need the wireless. Today, with simple things of Bluetooth and wireless internet, we can make an entire building which is old into the smartest of the building which you are looking for. Technology has gone to such an extent that you can have something which is healthy. In your old building, you can stand in front of a mirror and the mirror will tell you what is your weight, what is your cholesterol, what is what. So it is something which is needed. It is something which is required. It is something where, because of technology today, we are able to consume less power. We are able to save our water resources in the old buildings. We put on the things only when it is required. We don't waste the power and things and all. So all these things together is what the smart building is doing today for us. And more than that, it is also connecting us in real time to all the people whom you want to meet, including the grandparents and everyone whom we were not able to do before. So this is what I have to say, that yes, old buildings today are getting retrofitted. Today we have the thing that we can stay in the old charm of a building and still have the latest of digital technology to help us have a nice, happy, healthy and safe environment. Thank you.
Yeah, very well put, sir. And good you brought in the issue of the way the technology changes, right? You kind of wired the whole home, and after 2 years, wireless technology comes in, and all your wiring goes for a 6, right? So that's what it is. The nature of the technology is, we kind of build the walls and all those things, and then tomorrow probably because of the technologies things may not be required. So it's that flexibility and adaptability would be very important. Some of the homes intrinsically have it by the design, and some of the things probably need to be changed to bring in, right, to bring in the technology. So it's good you put in both the perspective of the modern times and how things work, doesn't work, and how is it working with the old building. So that's great. I'll go to architect Pooja Bihani. Pooja, can you hear me? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Pooja. So this is a question for you, knowing that you are sort of dealing with the homes so much more than some of us, right? Are intelligent homes becoming our norms rather than the exceptions? The technology is becoming more and more affordable. Automations solutions are kind of within the reach of everyone, and home buyers are becoming more and more tech savvy. So what is actually the future of the smart homes in Indian context, right? As Dinesh ji also said that about the home in Indian context a little bit, what the way we live and the way we function and the way the technology is coming in. So what is it your first-hand experience of intelligent homes, and how is it becoming more and more affordable, sort of becomes a norm than the exceptions? What do you think of that?
Thank you, Mr. Jain, for the query, and it's definitely something which we deal on our everyday life at work when we are interacting with clients. And yes, intelligent homes are becoming a norm to follow, more of a checklist where people are adapting to them and hearing out how it could make their life comfortable. So yes, I agree to Dinesh ji, when he says that. The happiness and joy of living in a house comes a lot now from the technology based automized systems. So smart homes, I also believe, are made up of various elements at physical, emotional, and at technical levels. And when I say emotional, it is because you can achieve comfort. If you can achieve comfort at your fingertips, it definitely makes life smooth, easy, and the emotions in the house are stable. So that itself is a happiness and joy, I guess, what Dinesh ji was also talking about. So when we talk about automation to our clients and why they are more receptive to the whole concept now, is because when we explain that a simple sensor like a 7 to 8 thousand sensor can make your life comfortable during the night. When you are in the dark, you don't have to look for the switch, and the light can be on. It definitely opens up the heart, and they are kind of more accepting to us, to a fact that automation need not be very hi-fi. It could just be a simple sensor like this. When we talk about further down, when we talk about automation systems, we do explain that integrating say a TV, air conditioning, the speed of a fan, your TV channels, light dimming, etc., can at your fingertips can make the whole mood of the occasion so user friendly. They feel that this is the need of the hour, and hence it is definitely now becoming adaptable and a norm. I believe that smart phones need smart homes now, and definitely is going
Yeah,
that way. Yeah. So
that's right.
yeah, yeah.
Please go
So
on. Just wanted to say, if you have any sort of example to cite, like how is that the future of the smart home, the way you see it in next couple of years' time? Is every homes are becoming smarter? Every homes are kind of going towards being more intelligent home. What do you think?
yes, I definitely believe so. And with the retrofit tips that Dinesh ji just gave us, it's so easy to adapt to say a voiceover. For example, if you want to talk about me, I'm a mother of a 9-year-old, and I'm communicating with my child throughout the day through Alexa, and automation. So,
Wow.
it's as simple as that. Directing him, using a CCTV camera and the Alexa is so. I'm in touch with him throughout the day. So I guess everybody in their own way, whether it is retrofit or adapting to a seamless automation at higher levels. When we talk about hidden speakers, when we talk about mirror TVs, ultimate surveillance systems, and as we talk about safety at the fingertips, where we are using our thumb impressions for opening up wardrobes, e-keys, etc. It is definitely becoming more of a need, and future design, I firmly believe, for the millennial youth is driven by technology, and we would need to adapt to all of this very fast. And thanks to companies like Schneider, who are helping us sort of understand the technology better, because we essentially are design creative people, but they make it very user friendly for us, so that we can communicate it to our clients very easily in a common man language. You know what I'm trying to say? Because I'm sure all of us have gone through that journey of first understanding ourselves, then explaining it to the clients, and then actually implementing it in our
Correct.
project. So yes, I believe it's a norm now, and it will only
Great.
grow.
Thank you so much sharing the insight. It's really interesting to know that Alexa, you've been communicating with your child, So this is something I think it's an example which is people should spread that as well. Alexa can be used multiple ways. So my next question is to architect Rahul Dalvi. Hi Rahul, can you hear me? Rahul, this is really a little bit of a difficult one and the broad base, right? So it's saying generally, historically, the green building design is always remained on the passive design principle, how you put your windows, how you put your courtyard, how you have the ventilation and how you orient your building so that it doesn't have much of heat gain. But isn't that time for the designers to address the green building operations by integrating the intelligent buildings, equipment and system? How can we make the buildings more sustainable by integrating the intelligent building systems, like the technology? In short, how can the technology help buildings to be more sustainable or more green?
Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Pleasure seeing most of the ones whom I know. Thanks for a nice introduction as well, Jan. Well, to begin with, let us say that nothing is inert, right? Everything is progressive. Everything is organic in nature. So when we talk about green architecture, we talk about sustainability. These words, as what architect Divya Kush just mentioned, they have become clear because, every now and then we keep on hearing these words. But having said that, what is sustainable? Sustainable is something that is affordable, which is value for money, which is when you weigh the worth to the money spent. And that's where the sustainability word comes in, whether it's a developer or whether it is you and me trying to save water. That is what is sustainable to me, actually. So having said that, when earlier the design principles used to set in about the placement, the way you place a build form, the way you keep the windows, like Jan, what you rightly said, isn't it the time? I think we are already using technology to make it more sustainable. I don't see any reason to say that now is the time. I think the time has already been there since a long time. Earlier, it used to be the placement, then came the material identification. You have IGBC, you have leads, everyone who is talking about material and how much of what material goes in, what is the carbon footprint, where it is made, how much of effort goes into that. All those things are there. So calculations came in, the planning came in, then came in the material. And now is the time wherein we are talking about IoT, we are talking about Internet of Things, we're talking about artificial intelligence, we're talking about automation, we're talking about so many things by which we are able to save. Like the old saying says that saving is actually earning, or a cricketer would say that each fielder that saves a run is equivalent to a batsman scoring a run. So to me, it is as much as you save, you earn. So the whole effort right now is to save the resources, is to optimize the resources, be it water harvesting, be it automated panels which take care of the pumps in a house. You can have the metering system for an HVAC system, which talks about how the best and the most optimum way of utilization of technology happens to save the resources. Like what Pooja rightly said about the automation by which you can take your kids. Everything here is green. Everything here is sustainable. So technology is part and parcel of everything that we do. You look at Japan, for example. You have sleeping pods on the airports here as well. What is that? They're giving you pleasurable sleep in a 6 feet by 3 feet of a pod. That is actually emulating something which talks about a nice mattress, a right temperature, everything right to give you a peaceful sleep. When we are talking about a 6 by 3 as against a 15 feet by 20 feet of a bedroom, isn't it more sustainable? What more examples do we have? When you go to Japan, wherein space is a problem, even here, the homes have started shrinking, like what Dinesh rightly said. What is retrofitting? We are only trying to embed a larger room into a smaller space.
Yeah.
You get system for which you required an X amount, in a depth of only 6 or 7 feet. That itself is sustainability. So anything that you pick right from your smartphone, the optimization of the screen of the smartphone is also sustainability. We are talking of a battery life, sustainability. You hold everything in your hand. Technology is only helping sustainability. So I think so, be it green architecture or anything, be it buildings or be it your phone, everything today has to be sustainable to survive. Even the shirt that we wear, it has to be sustainable.
Yeah,
it has to be contextual and sustainable. It cannot just take the aesthetics and forget about it. I can't wear in a Baroda heat of 42 degree, I can't wear a polyester shirt. I have to wear cotton. So that cotton probably from somewhere near, that is where we are.
Yes.
I think everything is interwoven quite nicely.
Yeah.
And now it is the time that we are finding for value-based things, value-based architecture rather than only so-called aesthetical architecture. So form follows function is again back in.
Yeah, no, very well put it. I think as you said that we need to go back to the basics and define more architecture, right? And as you said, technology is always been there. It's making the things more and more optimizing, more and more sort of defining its purpose. So that's very well. Thank you for putting it to the basic. And my next question is to Kavita. Kavita, can you hear me? Are you?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, hi, Kavita. So question for you, Kavita, is that in terms of space design for a home or a building at micro level or a city at sort of an overall major macro level, what are the health and livability parameters should be the prime consideration for an architect or a designer? I think one of the word to underline is the livability, like it's a very interesting word, the house you can live it, but how good a design is, design would make it livable, so that's what you think of that parameters a kind of a designer need to consider to make it healthy, livable and sustainable, probably a building or a home.
So it's interesting that we're talking about health, which is a very, very pertinent issue in the current context. Thanks to COVID, I would say that homes are back in the limelight. People are spending more and more time together than ever before. Families are getting closer, I would say. If there's anything good that's come out of this last 1 year, I think it's taken us back to our roots. It has shown us the importance of a family and of being together and being there for each other. Like Dinesh said, we are actually looking out for each other. And it's not just families, it's also on a macro level, neighborhoods. Neighborhoods are pitching in. Neighbors are pitching in. We have a WhatsApp groups, this is technology again, which is bringing neighbors together. We're communicating on those groups and, it's like the community is coming together. So it's very interesting because pre-COVID, people wanted homes. I'm going to talk about the micro level. So people wanted homes that were low on maintenance, could run on autopilot. And who was actually living in these homes? Because everybody wanted these beautiful customized spaces. But can you hear me? Because I think
yeah, we can hear you. No problem.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. So they wanted these beautiful spaces, but everybody was out, like either working, socializing, studying, or people never really hung out at home. But now, because of this scenario, homes have actually become our sanctuary. They've become a place for our physical and mental well-being. I've been I've had so many clients who have come back and said that, can we have a work from home space? I want to remodel my house. I want more garden space. I'm looking at my terrace garden. There's so much space here, because once you are spending so much time at home, you want it to cater to your every need. And here we have gyms happening at home. So there's this project that I was working on, and this guy, this client of mine is a total gym freak. He has to work out every day. And when I was designing the house, I asked him, this was in 2019, I asked him like, Sid, don't you want a gym at home? He said, no way. There's no way I'm going to work out at home. I want my gym time. I want to be able to go to a gym and work out there. There's no way I'm going to work out at home. And sure enough, a year later, he's like, you know, that space up there on the terrace, that's perfect. Can I have a gym over there? and not only gym, we have a terrace garden, we have a gazebo. The house is still growing. It's not complete yet. So anyway, so that was just a small peek into what I've been going through. Coming to the health and livability parameters, I think the most important thing a designer can do and should never lose sight of is respect nature. I feel nature-based designs are the need of the hour. We need to have the inside coming, going out, and the outside coming in. So we need to have gardens, verandas, swimming pools. Well, swimming pools a bit extravagant, but yes, we've had clients who've been asking for pools as well. Home offices, home theaters. Now with people socially distancing themselves, home theaters are also gaining a lot of importance. So what was once considered a waste of space, they wanted to cover everything. Now it's like, no, let's keep everything open. So I think that's a great thing. And things like cross ventilation, plenty of light, finding ways of dealing with the heat instead of just putting ACs in every room. So climate related design, both at the macro and the micro level, is very, very is going to get really big. And these are things we studied, like 30 years back in college. These were things that we were taught. And somewhere along the way, I feel that, all these things kind of got lost. And I would say that is also because of technology. We had technology that could take care of the heat issues, that could take care of the light issues. But I think that, we need to go back to that to a large extent. And of course, using a local material, again, because mostly for thermal properties is also very important. And the other thing I feel, like I said, landscaping. Landscape is, especially at a macro level, we need urban lung spaces. We need to follow setbacks. That is very, very important. The setbacks are there for a reason. They are there to let the houses breathe. So we need to go back. We need to follow setbacks. And we need to build just how much we need, not as per our greed, but as per our need. So that is my 2 bit when it comes to.
Thanks, Kavita. That was really great, defining the basic parameters of the landscape, the nature, the open spaces, and the spaces that breathe. So that was really great. My next question is to Nandan from Schneider Electric. Nandan, this is probably one of the most known design questions related to the technology, and hope we all look forward to hear you answer that. This is about your field. The buildings are increasingly expected to meet higher and more complex performance requirements, including energy efficiency to promote the sustainability. How efficient are IoT-based smart buildings? How efficient IoT in general, connecting and integrating the system, and how it can help achieving the sustainability along with safety and security? Probably you can also tell us how does Schneider does the IoT-based smart building. Nandan, over to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Jayant, and thanks all of the panelists, because I think very insightful discussion so far. So happy to bring in some views from the technology point of view, from Schneider aspects as well. Hope I'm audible, Jayant.
Yeah. Please
Okay.
go ahead.
Good. So I think I would like to answer this whole question into two parts. I think maybe we will take as a buildings as one, and then I will come to the homes as a second part of it. So when it comes to the building side of it, and I think today one of the most important questions is about the sustainability, okay, and how the IoT can help us bring that sustainability. So we, being Schneider, who are specialists in energy management, have been working about it, and for a while now, for a decade or so now, with a very structured way, something which we have put in place, very structured, very simple method as well, with a three-layered approach. This approach is called EcoStructure with 3 layers. What does it do? So we have, first we need to know what is the consumption of our individual products or individual elements at the building. So first the products need to be connected. Once we are connected, then we can get the data out of it. What is that we are consuming? Only when we know the data, what is that we are consuming, we will come to know whether we are going to save, how much we are going to save out of it. So the intelligence comes once we have the data, once we know how much we are consuming and where we are consuming, then we put intelligence to it with the machine learning or analytics with artificial intelligence to it, and draw something which is meaningful out of it, which is we can provide the analytics to the building management teams, which they can convert it into the certain efficient part. So if you don't need certain things, or if there is a more leakage at certain place, this is where we can plug it with a complete comprehensive solutions which we can apply. So this is something which is this is not just related to one small building or one large building. So it can be applied across the dimensions of different kind of buildings, be it commercial, be it residential buildings, or be it a individual home. So when it comes to home, okay, I think this is something which is very interesting for us. We took it more deeply in terms of how we can make homes little more smarter and more sustainable for that matter. Okay, and I think as all of you has mentioned, starting from Mr. Dinesh, in terms of having old homes and how can we make them more smarter now. And I think as the technology grew, okay, and we need to put in that element of intelligence into it and also make it sustainable. We don't want to go for completely rewiring the home and make it completely renovate it and make it a little more I mean, it should not become so complex for making that home smarter. And when we mean smarter, it should have that intelligence in terms of understanding the current usage of your consumption, and also make it something which is meaningful outcome for the consumers to make something meaningful out of it. So now let me give a site example for that. Okay, any retrofitting, when we talk of any old homes which are built in way back in 80s or 90s, okay, so we have brought in some technology which can fit into existing home without modification or without any rewiring of it. What does it do? It does one thing, that my grandparents can continue to use the home as they were used to having it. That means it's more user friendly for them. Then when it comes to our generation who want to control something from outside, we can do it using the mobile. And also when it comes to the younger generation, the kids who are more gadget friendly and who are more like the Pooja was mentioning about the Alexas, they can still be able to use the same home in their way in terms of making the most of it. So here is an element what we have brought in with a wiser solution, which can cover up the complete solution in terms of making it smart, okay, and making it user friendly by different age group, and also not modifying the homes. And always smart has to be simple, and it has to be simple for everybody to use, and something which has to be easy to understand. It should not be something just for the heck of having a smart home we want to have it. I think it has to be something which has to add a meaningful dimension to it. Yeah. So this is where we have brought in this wiser solution which can do that.
So
yeah.
just one question from you, and I was asking that yesterday also So, are Wiser is making smart systems, or Wiser is making intelligent system? What's the difference between smart home and intelligent home?
It's a
something.
very interesting question. See, because intelligence is something which means it has to run on its own. Okay, you don't need to come and give a command to it, and it should be something which should understand what is happening, and it should be able to have that intelligence to take a right decisions. Okay, and that's something which is a intelligent home, if you call it. And where we are having, I mean, when you put the smartness to it, you can always have a overriding control of it, and you can make things smarter than that. So what we are bringing in is more of intelligent homes as well. Okay, that means any energy consumption. Okay, today, imagine you have energy guzzlers like ACs and geysers at your home, and today you can understand. I mean, imagine the future where if your geyser is consuming more than the usual one, a SMS goes to a service provider who will come and maintain your geyser, saying that, sir, your consumption has been more than this usual consumption, and now you need to go for maintenance of it, and I'm here to provide you that service. So that's intelligence. So that you don't need to worry about why my electricity bills are going haywire. And here is a pinpointed answer that, yeah, your electricity bills are higher because this is the particular equipment which is consuming more than usual. And here is a solution for that. It's not just stops at providing you the information, it provides you the solution as well. That's the intelligence.
Great answer, Nandan, and fantastic. Let me come back to you. Let me go back to architect Divya Kush. Let me again ask the question at overall policy level, right? Since with your Association of Indian Institute of Architects, what do you think? I mean, are we as a country, are we having a sort of a sustainable policy, or looking at a huge infrastructure and housing need coming up? Is there a sort of architects and the designers working with the government, or is the government having a sustainable environmental sustainability policy coming up somewhere in future? Is it getting integrated? What you think of that? Now that you are also on the panel of the Central Vista Committee, and maybe those could be the example, right, which will be the sort of show the way. But I'm sure the government must be having some kind of policy in the making, and maybe you were involved at that time in helping the government on that.
So, as far as policies are concerned, everybody is busy making policies. We have got very good laws. We have got very good policies. The problem lies in understanding and implementation.
Right.
I just noted few things. I am a student of science and a student of architecture, followed by being a student of architecture. So, being a student of science, everything has to be questioned. Why? How? So if I want to adopt a technology, I must ask this question to myself: why I need this technology? Can I do without it? And that comes from my education, where we are taught less is more, and small is beautiful. Yeah. And small is beautiful. I mean, these are philosophical things. I mean, they may not be music to the ears of many, but reality lies there that less is more and small is beautiful. That is one. Second is, important thing is emphasis has to be laid on intelligent, efficient, and optimum use of the natural resources. Rest all will follow out of it. What is that? For example, when our country became independent, our population was 32 crores. Probably including Pakistan and India, I'm not very sure, but something around that.
True.
And our country's land area is 44 lakh square kilometers approximately. Now we have 130 crore population. Area has not increased by an inch. It remains the same. Availability of potable water is less than what it was at the time of independence, 432 crores. So our efforts have to go to ensure that we use our vast natural resources, except for the sun. Even that per capita availability of sun also is 1/4. So anything that is naturally available, availability of that has reduced to 1/4 or 1/5 in many cases. And there is a cascading effect also. And therefore, if our policies are aimed towards that, I think we will get the desired results. Now, I'll give you some personal examples. You will be surprised to know the only injections I've had in my life is one vaccination for smallpox, followed by chickenpox, and a tetanus injection all before I was 10. And the next injection is this vaccine injection. All my life, I have never had to have any injection. And I don't go for a morning walk, and I don't enjoy exercise. I am
very right.
And you will be further shocked to know my father had the first and the last injection just 3 months before his death at the age of 89. He never had to have it.
Yeah.
So how it happens? It's not just God's gift. It is, you have to work for it. For example, being at peace with yourself is very important. The moment you are at peace, because everything lies here, all this sickness and wellness is here. Rest all are our tools. My hand may not work. I mean, that's a tool. It doesn't work. My legs don't work. That's a tool. Doesn't work. That doesn't matter. But as long as I'm at peace here, nothing can go wrong with me. I mean, again, I repeat, these are philosophical things, and I am not suggesting that we should not adopt technology. We, as has already been mentioned, technology is something which has always been part of our, life system, right from ancient times. Unless there was technology, we would not have been sitting here and talking to each other.
Of course, yeah.
The dependence upon it has to be minimal. And there was a talk of about 100 kilometers of wire and this and that. I'm really wondering. Of course, we are doing away with wire, but I do not know what is happening around me in terms of waves that are going around. I mean, there was a time when there was no telephone in my house. Today, I got 10 telephones. My son has two, my daughter-in-law has two. Everybody has 2 telephones. My God, I don't know what they do with those 2 telephones. I'm not able to use my one telephone. And the kind of opportunities this telephone gives, I am sure I am not using even 1% of what all this telephone can do. So I have to buy this telephone because some of the things I have to do with this. Otherwise, an ordinary telephone is good enough for me at least. It may not be good enough for everybody. So all of us have to take an individual decision, what is required for me. And that will make the whole system sustainable. Now, one more thing, I'll not take much time. As I said earlier, sustainability cannot be in isolation. And happiness also cannot be in isolation. I cannot be happy unless my surroundings are happy. My maid is happy, my servant is happy, my staff is happy, my children are happy, my neighborhood is happy. How everybody becomes happy? That one, it comes from good health, and second, it comes from a civilized way of living. These are the things we are losing focus of. There was a time when we were children, if we go around the town and we happen to do some prank, and anybody would slap me over there in the market. Though our worry those days was not that we have been slapped. Greater worry was that let our parents not know it, because there will be another slap. And that has made us what we are today. अभी तो बच्चे को जरा सा चोट लगा तो मोहल्ले में लड़ने चले जाते हैं हम लोग. किसी का शीशा टूट गया तो heavens fall for that. I don't know how many glasses we have broken in our childhood. Nobody beat up us for breaking a glass. Yes, we have been beat up by our neighbors and even people on the street, for misbehaving. But just because I am playing in the street and somebody's glass is broken, nobody has ever beat us up for for all that. So some
Yeah,
of the
thank
things
you,
we
thank you, sir. Thank you
yeah,
for your
thank you.
insight. Very interesting. Let me come back to Dinesh. So, how are the Dinesh ji? The question is that how is the designers and urban planners integrating the design and technologies to achieve better design, safety, and sustainability? Do you have any insight to share, Dinesh?
Definitely.
From
Firstly, I just wanted to have a comment. Now I know why Mr. Divya, the name of Mr. Divya Khush, the name itself is Khush.
Is Khush.
And it was really great to hear the positive vibes coming out. Well, coming back to what Jain Saab you are asking, let me, I think, answer this more out of certain real-time projects which we have handled, where we have been able to have experience with the technology and towards the functionality, the safety, and the sustainability as what the three main things what you just asked for. So there was a project which we are doing on a 100-acre project for a university. And
right.
the issue was, like how do you come to know as to what type of infrastructure should be working inside? Because all that depends on how many students will be coming on that day. So one is the guesswork, but then we had the digital technology there to help us, where every bus with students who would enter into the campus, the RFID cards were there and things and all, and immediately, at any real time, they'll come to know as to how many students are where and how much of canteen thing to be made or how much of what to be done. So all the data comes real time because of technology, and the entire university, the operations and all, they happen because of that.
True.
The other thing which we also use, in the interiors and the things also is, in the libraries and all. Today, where the book is, what the book is, where it is, all that is controlled by technology. And it is so useful because you know when the book is coming back, and even if you want to refer, you know with whom it is, and things work very well. Another technology
library
which is
doesn't
very
even have the books. True. Go on, sir, please.
The cameras which are now installed in most of the classrooms, in some of the schools which we have done, the parents are given the option that they can log in and they can see the child, whether the child is there, is he paying attention, what is he doing. So there are various ways where the digital technology has helped us do the campus much better and make it more functional.
Yeah, and I agreed. That's really good insight. Thank you so much. This is a good example. I'll just go back to Pooja. Pooja, actually now we know that this COVID scenario is going on, and we are in the midst of the second wave. How is it you think the technology is influencing the world of the interior designing, considering that the pandemic is on, or in post-pandemic scenario, will the design and will the technology will help you change the design, or will the design will change for the future specific to the homes? Pooja, are you with me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm here. Yes, thank you, Mr. Jent, once again. So yes, definitely, as I, as we heard Kavita, this whole ethos of a home has changed forever, and the whole ethos of living in a house has now, if driven by technology, and should be driven by technology, helps us to be convenient, to be comfortable in our homes. So I was actually introspecting for myself rather than what we do for the clients, and realize that with COVID, we are now wanting multiple usage of spaces, where in a daytime, if a place is being used as a den, then in the night you would want to convert it into a bedroom. In the night, if a bedroom is being used as a bedroom, then during the day is being used as a home office. And that's when you have intelligent systems, that talk to every light. And I think some of the experts here know what I'm referring to. Rather than a face cut technology, you have a more upgraded technology. Then these multiple usages become very handy. So yes, automation plays a very important role now in COVID scenario where, and post-COVID scenario where, you're optimizing the spaces and the usage of spaces in a limited resource scenario that Kushji was talking about. Also, when we have this kind of technology, the interior design definitely gets influenced and reinvented. For example, with so many gadgets happening, I would now want a back-end server room probably, where all these cablings are properly housed and properly access to and serviced. Many such small things are now getting changed because of the COVID scenario and the needs. The comfort, for example, of the and the shortage of domestic help during COVID times helped us to automize many things, including a small maybe vacuum cleaner or a maybe upgraded washing machine or something like that. So in our own little way, maybe the whole humanity has got upgraded to sort of harmonize the energies in the house and technology. Like this forum that we are meeting, virtual meets have now become a norm. Talk about a year back, it was like such
impossible. Yeah, true.
Yeah. So we I think humanity has changed forever. Interior design now
Great.
would have a lot of underlying.
No, I agree with you. That was a great sort of way of putting it, that to harmonize the things with each other, right? Like, harmonizing elements, which is a great way to put it as an interior designer. Let me come to Rahul. Rahul, a question to you is that technology, sort of what is the role and how the technology affect the sustainable social development, right? Or how is the technology makes the sustainable development effective, such as the delivery of the clean energy, sanitation, water? Maybe you can combine with your insight or any experience of the projects which you could share with us,
Well, the whole topic about technology and sustainability itself is interwoven. When we're talking about deliverance of clean energy, no wonder that when we are saving the resources, we're talking about metering of, say, water, for example. We're talking about creating energy through solar, thermal, hydro projects, which again is based on the technology a lot. All these things that we are talking about are dependent on technology. Even if we are talking about infrastructure development, the social development is dependent on the infrastructure development, which again talks about sustainability as to determining. I mean, I would say that even putting a metro, for that matter, does talk of sustainability based on the city that it is getting proposed. You may find some cities which are unnecessarily getting proposed a metro when they don't really need it. These are unsustainable, non-sustainable models. Why we do it is again a question that we should be asking the government. Having said that, whatever we do, there has to be a meaning. And to find a meaning only determines whether that particular thing that you do is sustainable or not sustainable to the population in general or to a single person. Water harvesting. I mean, if you're talking about the smaller connotations, we talk about water harvesting, how the water is taken out. And we talk about all the resources for that matter, be it earth, be it water, or be it air, or be it pollution. So if you are able to tap on these things about the pollution as such is going to be a big thing, which is up there next. The moment we are through with solving the water issues, the pollution issues are going to be much larger. We are already facing it in the bigger metros, and to have even cleaner air is going to be a huge charge that we will have to pay in future. So I think technology is going to be the biggest thing to help us live. Even in the COVID times, we are able to see the purifiers, the way in which the purifiers are getting bought just to save our own life for the oxygen and the ventilators. But even the purifiers in everyone's office and everyone's homes talks about how important air is to us. So I think technology is something which is there for everything.
Yeah, it could be the best friend as well as the worst kind of enemy, right? Like if you don't know how to use it. So very well put in, Rahul. Understand the thoughts behind that. Let me come back to Kavita. Kavita, question for you is that what do you find the key issues in adapting the technology solution from the property owners, from the home perspective, Kavita? Hello. Kavita, you are on mute, Kavita.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
So, like,
Right.
I agree with what you say that technology can be a blessing or a curse, and it's up to us to draw that line and use it for our benefit. So, coming back to the key issues, I think one of the biggest issues is that it needs to be user friendly. It needs to be intuitive in its design, not just for the tech savvy inhabitants, but across generations, because we have parents living with us or visiting us. Um, we have a staff infrastructure. So it should be easy to understand by everybody and easy to use. So that I think would be the one point that we need to consider, how to make it more human centric, how to make it user friendly across all ages. Number two is cost. If we could bring down this automation to a level where it is as expensive or as economical as our switches, for instance, because we don't think twice when we have to do electrical layouts or electrification for homes. I mean, it's a given, we have to do it. So if this technology could come down to that in terms of its cost, then everybody would automatically, fit it by default. The next thing is upgrades. Now, technology is getting outdated frequently.
Yeah.
We update our phones, we update, our devices, our cars. Now we have all these intelligent cars coming in. We're always in searching for newer and better features. How does a home keep up? What is the life of a smart home? At the rate at which technology is evolving, where do we find that balance? That a home. Now Dinesh said that he started with life of a home. Life of a home is longer than the life of its inhabitants. And
Yeah,
what
it's
is the life
timeless.
of it? Yeah. So what is the life of its technology? I mean, does it outlive the house? Does it outlive the owners? Or, I would say it's even shorter at the rate at which it's being upgraded. So I think these are the three key, issues that
Yeah,
we need
correct.
to address.
Yeah. Now, understand that very well put in actually, sort of highlighting the issue that what is the life of the home, right? Is the home timeless or is the home ever changing, or what is the life of the technology? The technology evolves. Does the home evolve as well? Is the design need to evolve around, or the basic of the home need to remain as an essence? These are good issues to sort of think over. My final question coming to is Nandan again from Schneider, and this is something again about the technology. Now there are like a lot of talks about the convergence of IoT and big data. We keep hearing this word sometimes in different contexts, and sometimes we don't even know what exactly it refers to. So the question is that convergence of IoT and big data with the green building, is it in probably in the nascent stage right now? What do you think the future of IoT, big data in context of the smart homes, right? How those will affect to the smart homes and which way?
Yeah. So I think, I think it's a quite large question, but I think, that's the future for sure. I think we have so much of data being collected from each one of our devices. Ultimately, something useful has to be done with that data. Unless we put some intelligence to that data, that's of no use. And that's where exactly the technology is moving and has to move. Okay, I think this is where the once you know the behavior of your people, okay, once you know the user patterns, once you know how they, what time you are expected to, what time you are expected to get up, what time you are expected, what is your routine, and once you know all this at home, there is so much more can be put at home to make it much more smarter. Example, I think today, right now, you are I'm going to finish this meetings, and maybe around 7 o'clock I'm expected to reach at home, and imagine my geyser is on and my water is ready, so that I don't need to wait for another 15-20 minutes for that to get heated. So that's intelligence, and that's geotagging, which can be done with your data. And now, as soon as my car reaches proximity, maybe around certain kilometers, it automatically switches on. And I did it. You can do it with your phone right now without getting up, and that's something which is smart, and that's something which we can do, which can help us with the technologies, can help us, and the smart homes can help us. And same thing with when it comes to the other parts. I mean, as I gave you an example of electricity consumptions, I think you don't need to go twice. I think it's something which, if you are getting something at your fingertips saying that this particular equipments you are consuming more than usual, and this is the problem for that, and you are going to have a preventive maintenance for that, that's something which is going to be smart and intelligent. And that's exactly where we are heading, with the more and more data and big data being coming in, and more intelligence and machine learning being applied on that. We are getting into a place, and I think pretty fast we will get there, because what we have seen is digitization has penetrated way too faster than what we had imagined in last 1 year, and we will soon get there, where people and equipments will be smarter enough and intelligent enough. It's not just about smart homes anymore. It will go towards intelligent homes, which is the future for us, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, great. That's very well said. And the pace is increasingly getting faster and faster. And hope in soon future, as you said, there'll be more and more intelligent homes around with IoT and all. Sapna, is it now the time to take the questions from the users?
Yes, I think a lot of questions did get answered during the discussion. But one question that has come, Nandan, for you is that, most of these home devices are being controlled by smart homes. So the risk of third-party access, hacking, how do you address that? How much is that there?
Absolutely important question. I think when we talk of safety of devices, I think we somewhere we forget the safety of cyber security and cyber threats, and that's something which is extremely critical right now. I think as we are talking of intelligence and as we are talking of data, the security of data becomes an extremely important pillar for us. And I think as Schneider, this is one of the key elements we consider as one of the most important pillars when it comes to the cyber security, because cyber threats are increasing day by day, and whatever smartness we are talking about, if they are not safe enough, that means we are at risk. And imagine you are having an app on your phone, and nowadays phone is the center of our complete world. I think you have everything on the phone. Unless the data what is used and given is not safe enough and is not having the right level of cyber securities and protecting the devices and the homes against the cyber attacks, we are not safe. And this is exactly where the technology can help us. Okay, and being Schneider being focused on that, something which is extremely important pillar, that smart homes are not just safe from the equipment side of it and the hardware part of it, also from the cyber part of it, and from the data point of view as well. Yeah.
Okay, so that's one big challenge which faces the smart homes and smart devices, which probably does need to get addressed. One question that I think, probably we'll ask all our speakers to, give answer in just one sentence, one statement, including Mr. Vetha. What according to you would be the next generation of green buildings look like? Mr. Vetha, let's start from you. One sentence, what would be the next generation of green buildings look like?
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting. The next generation of the green building not only consume lesser power, but it will probably produce its own food, right? Like, you don't have to go outside the home if you don't want to, right? So that's what I think is the
Okay.
deep green, right?
Next
What is the
generation
deep
of
green?
green buildings, Mr. Veta says, would be producing their own food as well. Architect Dinesh Verma, what's your view, your one sentence on next generation of green buildings?
You are on mute, sir.
You're on mute, Ms.
I'm back. Yeah. I would say that the next generation buildings will not only look smart, but they'll be intelligent too.
Okay. So they will be intelligent. They will, dynamic to the users, the occupants' needs, and they don't need monitoring. Yes. Architect Rahul Dalvi, your one comment on next generation of green buildings.
Well, it may not sound very true, and it may not be acceptable in this technology-driven world. But if you ask me, I would prefer to go back to the rural settings and stay in the most natural environment and work from there and stop
that is what we are seeing in the COVID world. People are going back to their
greenest
villages
of the
and
green, right?
So I think so the best would be that the migration stops, people go back to this and work from a place which gives you more family life. That becomes the best in this.
Correct. We are seeing people not working from home, but working from vacation homes now.
Yeah, no, the reverse migration would be the true green. I know, actually, I agree with you.
Pooja, your one sentence, how do you summarize the next generation of green buildings?
I would say happy homes and happy homes which are smart. So I just, was thinking of sustainable, money-wise, adaptable, reinventable, and tech-savvy would bring that.
So tech-savvy, happy, livability, happy to be part of that home or building. Architect Kavita Shastri, your view on the next generation of green buildings.
Atmanirbhar.
Okay, fantastic.
That's great, yeah.
Fantastic. So that was not one sentence, one word I would say.
Just one word, yeah.
Architect Divya Kush, your one sentence or one word.
Next generation of buildings will not be for me. If I have to live in those buildings, I'll be living like a robot, not like a human being. And therefore, I certainly would not like to live in a so-called intelligent and smart building. Never.
Okay. So Architect Divya Kush, I think, feels that over-automation is happening for the buildings.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Unnecessary automation. Unnecessary.
Okay. Nandan, your last view, let's close it with that.
Yeah, sure. I think next level of green building will be net zero. I think they will produce for themselves. I think they will feed for themselves, and I think they will also contribute. I think the sustainability is key, and homes and intelligence and technology is of no use unless it becomes primary for. It feeds itself and it's intelligent, not over intelligence, so that it disturbs the humanity part of it, but grows along with that. I think technology is here to grow along. And I think the next generation has to be net zero homes, where it means it feeds for itself and it's sustainable on its own.
Yes, we already are seeing net zero buildings coming up. And yes, human element to the technology is the most important part. And that is how I believe the technologies would grow. But thanks to all the speakers, eminent panelists, we touched upon, I think, Mr. Vetha, on all, dimensions of this, whether it is technology fast changing, as one of them said, after wiring you get to know, okay, we have wireless devices. We also talked about how technology is driving sustainability. We spoke about how COVID has changed our entire definition of homes, and how luxury, what we earlier considered luxury, is now becoming the essential part of our lives. And most importantly, spaces are becoming dynamic, and therefore the technology is becoming enabler. So thank you so much to all our panelists for being here, sharing their time, sharing their views, and making this entire session not only informative but thought-provoking for all of us. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Vetha.
Thank you so much.
Architect Pooja. Thank you, Architect.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Architect Dinesh Verma and Architect Rahul
Dinesh, Divya.
Architect Divya Kush and Nandan. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And Looking forward to seeing you in person very soon.
Yeah.
Same here.
Same
Thank
here.
you.
See you then. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Divya sir. Thank you, Dinesh ji. Thank you, Nandan, Kavita,
Thank you.
Pooja. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sapna,
Thank
for
you.
organizing this.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you for being here.
Bye.
So yes, that was our final session of the day. And yes, we had some very relevant information, some very interesting viewpoints with technology. A lot of other factors also come in picture. So thanks to all our speakers of this e-conclave. Let me now invite Mr. Shrikant Nadagoda, Head Business Development and Sales, Schneider Electric, to express his views and his sincere gratitude. Mr. Shrikant, you had been listening to those panel discussions and what our speakers had to say. So your views and your vote of thanks.
Yeah, Sapna, thank you very much for a quick, nice intro, and very good evening to all. On behalf of Schneider Electric India, I would like to thank all our guest speakers for gracing the today's Innovation Talk webinar. And it was very interesting, and most of our guests today spoke about how the future homes are shaping up, and then what are the essentials which we need to really take it up. Erstwhile, this scenario was not there in India. Now people are talking about getting themselves into the luxury lifestyle, and they wanted to upgrade themselves because pandemic has brought in a lot of change in our lifestyle, and which has really given a different dimension altogether. And we also learned a lot of things from this pandemic situation. And thanks to the great insight which has been given by all the panelists. And indeed, it was a very great session we had with them. And thanks to our audience for making this event a great success. And our intent was very clear that, we wanted to, our intent was like, organizing this program is behind that, we wanted to give this clear message to the people that how we need to really take care of ourselves in terms of home improvement. Thanks to Reality Plus for organizing this webinar. And also we would like to connect with all our customers and partners in their journey to make their homes of tomorrow safe, connected, and sustainable. Thank you all.
Thanks, Mr. Nadagoda. You summarized the entire event, and thanks for joining us here and expressing your thanks to our speakers of the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I also express on behalf of the entire Realty Plus team heartiest gratitude to Schneider Electric for presenting this Innovation Talk webinar as a knowledge sharing platform. And indeed, it was lovely to hear to all our speakers and get some valuable takeaways from them. We also thank Ms. Vidisha Nagaraj and Mr. Vikas Khandpur for being part of this session and sharing their views, giving that lovely presentation, and giving us so much information of what new is coming in our industry. Also, a big thanks, as Mr. Nadagoda just mentioned, through our awesome audience for being here, sharing their time, and sending in their queries for our speakers. I once again thank all our speakers of the day for sharing their time and knowledge with the industry stakeholders. Wish you all a great evening. And just before you leave to take a look at the Realty Plus products and initiatives, we will just have that in our AV. But for the next time, take care and goodbye. Thank you, Shrikanji.
Thank you. Thank you very much.